mode, I was fixing it, and it was live when I was fixing it. I just forgot to go studio mode.
So we were live or weren't live?
We were, but there was no sound. It was like for 30 seconds or a minute. So I was just fixing the board. The board had it where when you do the live events, it has like the pictures of the people and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that, so I had to get rid of that because it was just black space.
I'm cut off here. So how long was it like that? I hope I didn't...
Look a minute. Yeah.
Hey,
it was
guys.
muted, so, you know. Yeah.
I was just doing stuff on my phone because I didn't know. You didn't know either then.
Right, I was fixing and I forgot to put it in studio
So
mode.
what's going on here?
You know.
Is this a different layout or something?
What do you mean?
Like, have you used this layout in a while? Because
Yeah.
the video doesn't seem right. It's cut off on the left. There's like that big black bar.
Right, but that might be like this or something.
No, this here.
Right, I know, I thought that might be this.
No.
Okay.
So I would go to live test for a minute. You can do like the...
No, the live chest is totally different than this.
Well,
It doesn't look anything like... See, look.
I know, I didn't get to finish.
Okay.
All we're doing is going to copy the video with the transform and go back
No, I know, but we could just fix it here.
It's just better if you do it to copy it that way. It's already correct. Like if you go here.
Yeah, I know what you want me to do. I don't see what's better than just fixing it here. But,
Okay.
all right.
Whatever you think's better.
We'll do that. Now what?
So you click the...
Transform.
You have to select the correct element. Webcam, I can't tell if it's selected.
Yeah.
And then you do it. And transform. Yeah.
And then here.
You select the correct element again. The webcam.
Mm-hmm.
And then you right click. And I think it's maybe it's just quicker and better.
If it worked. Oh, yeah, because that just does the video instead of like everything. Now this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing's messed up.
No, you haven't used this layout, I don't think. It's pretty easy.
I use it, but what happened is the layout is different. It's for when they have this. We don't have a layout. We're using the same layout for two different things.
Oh, I see. You can still do the same thing. Like you could, if there's a better, go back to there and copy.
Is that better?
The chat.
I'm not sure if that's better. I can't tell.
I'm saying if you like that better, you can copy. I can't tell.
And then what's all that? Horrible.
That's where, you know.
Yeah, I don't like that better.
That won't copy that over. It only copy. That's a separate element.
It is? All right.
Yeah, it just copies the chat.
What?
How's everybody doing? If you want to copy the chat, you just select alert box and you do the same thing we just did.
You mean chat?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, chat box.
Yeah.
And then you do the same thing we just did.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't want to do that. I hate when we do that.
Well, it's quicker and more accurate.
But it's terrible and doesn't work. Let's see. I already lost the chat box. Oh, there it is. Do I have to do this? I guess not. I don't hear a lot of donating. Terrible. That's marginally better. Marginally.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah, move over, though. You're, like, way over.
Yeah.
You're already, you know. Also move over the other way because you have COVID. Etc.
I'm sorry we missed all the chat and then we were streaming and didn't even know we were streaming.
I'm not sorry at all we missed the chat. The chat's already been, I've only seen like 2 chats and they're both idiotic. So
I was playing on my phone. I didn't even know we were streaming. Then I said, oh, and I started talking to you guys and then Vin's like, oh, we're not streaming. I'm like,
right.
well.
We wouldn't have any volume on.
Yeah. It was all confusing, but we figured it out.
I don't use this layout very often. And the layout was for some other layout. We actually don't have a layout for this. It used to be this. Then we changed it so that we could see like the names and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't have, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you found how to stream Twitch all by yourself? It doesn't make any sense. Also, what's KN? You can't spell on. Yeah. Anyway, everything you guys say about our acuity at, at doing stuff, our acumen is none of you guys can do anything.
They're just,
we do everything perfectly.
Hey, they're just gentle
Can you refresh?
roasting.
They're not roasting. They're really dumb. They think that they know how to do stuff when they can't do anything.
Gentle roasting.
It's amazing they can even watch my stream. A lot of people who think they're good at like computers and web stuff, they're like, how come I don't get notified when you're streaming? That's something like a 4-year-old can do, and like half of you can't do that. So, Yeah, including like people who work for us. They still can't do it.
Hey, you're air frying. I got
Yeah.
Ben got me an air fryer oven.
Yeah.
11 years, and I haven't used it yet because I've had COVID the last few days. But I am going to use it.
Yeah.
But good thing we got all these gadgets since our kitchen remodels beyond our budget.
Anyway, you're all the worst. Yeah, I like the way when something happens, right? Like somebody dies, and it happened like a day ago or 2 days ago or a year ago. They're like, "Did you know? Did you know that Capablanca lost his world championship to Alekhine? Can you believe that? Can you believe Alekhine died? Who's the world champion now? Did you hear about Fischer beating Spassky?" Yeah, when you have news that's old and you say it on Twitch, everybody already knows it. So, yeah. Okay. Anyway, everything that you guys say is absurd. So, just letting you know that. All right. Now, what I did was, this stream is going to be about the World Rapid. And about half of the stream, we're going to show chess stuff. And the other half, we're going to discuss, the players that you haven't heard of, like Abdusattorov, and the tiebreak system, which you don't understand, and, everything else you don't understand. And then when we're done, you won't understand it still, but at least you could rewatch. I think what our web persons, what do you call that person?
YouTube editor.
Our YouTube editors should make like 10 videos of each one.
Okay.
Because that way, if it's going to be 2 hours long and people can't watch more than 5 minutes because brain damage and stuff.
Yeah. Well, then people like it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell her to do that.
Yeah, can't spell Fisher correctly, etc. Yeah. Now, it was clear going into the final that the person whose name is more difficult to pronounce would be the winner, and that was up for discussion. So, I think the right person won. All right. So, I'm going to look at interesting games that happened today, between rounds 10 and 13, I think. Is there a round 9 game? No, I think it's just 10 and 13. Although there might not be any round 10 games. It might be 11, 12, and 13. But maybe I snuck one in. And so forth. And we're going to start at the bottom, which is Andrew Tang, obviously. And then we're going to rise to the top, which is, the guys who are good. Thanks for the subs, everybody.
Thanks, Gene Swift.
So forth. Yeah.
Hey, Sven, everybody. Hello, thank you.
Well, Abdusattorov also has, a crazy first name, too. So I think that puts him over the top. Yeah. Right. Andrew Tang, easy to pronounce, last place. Yeah. Truth hurts. Yeah. All right, we're on Chess TV, iChess TV,
He really was last place?
No, but it seemed like it.
No.
Yeah. There's like 170. He did better than the people who didn't show up and just got 0.
Yeah.
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 And he did.
What was his final score?
4 out of 13, something like that. But yeah. They didn't show this because people weren't interested. They not only had a tiebreak to see who won, they had a tiebreak for last. But you guys didn't watch that. Yeah.
Thank you, Kronobi. I think we missed somebody else, too.
We missed a lot of people, but I was busy saying very important
Resign
things.
and say it's Steinitz. Thank you. Ben, I love your streams, he says.
Yeah, I did thank him.
Oh.
I didn't thank the person you just went over swiftly.
Oh.
Right there.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Keep going. Stop.
Oh, I thanked Gene Swift.
Oh, yeah? I must have been too swift for me. Yeah. All right, now let me tell you how dumb you are a little more, and then I'll try to get COVID from Karen. Okay, I'm trying. Yeah. They say the best medicine against COVID is Stella. That's what they say. So we're yeah. I mean, we're trying. Yeah. Does the rapid winner qualify for the candidates? That's funny.
I think I'm back to normal, pretty much.
Okay, so the first game I want to show you is Smirin versus Tang. This was either round 10 or 11, and we're going to start late in the game. Okay, this is just a typical Rue Lopez, right? Now, Smirin used to be one of the best players in the world. Used to be. He's actually my age or older, so the truth hurts. And he was also a victim in the World Open of one of the guys who was cheating, who was thrown out. But anyway, one year Smirin, I think it was 2002, but I could be wrong. One year, Smirin beat everybody and won every tournament. He did that a lot in the U.S. The reason Smirin was playing a lot in the U.S. is he has a kid in the U.S., maybe Maryland, but I might have made that up, the Maryland part. But I'm close. Virginia, same thing. Anyway, so he would play in the U.S. a lot and visit his son. And Smirin's kind of big. So you guys think I'm big. Well, in China, in 2011, in Ningbo, we were at the buffet. Not sure if it was food, but it was a buffet. And sometimes when you walk in a buffet, you like bump into somebody. You know what I mean? And I bumped into Smirin, and then I was going to fall down, but he caught me. And he's like, sorry. Because he was, I bumped into him and I was going to fall down. That guy's not small. He's like 6'4", 9,000 pounds. And what happened was he wasn't a good chess player until he changed his name to Ilya Smirin. Then people were like, wow, that's a great name. Before that, he was named Bill Brasky. Now, when he was Bill Brasky, he was like 6'11" and like 400 pounds, and he slept with your wife. But then he changed his name to Ilya Smirin, so most of that stopped. Anyway, the point of my story was the year that I tied for first in the World Open, I drew Smirin in a lost ending. I was really lost. And that was the year Smirin beat Kramnik and Karpov with black, when Karpov and Kramnik were good. So Smirin's USCF rating at some point was 2895. So his road to 2900 wasn't successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the game where you were down 2 pawns and then everybody cheered when you drew.
And then Aviv said he would have bet his left nut I was going to lose that
That's
game.
right. See,
That's right.
I listened to some of your stories.
I thought Aviv was crazy, but then I saw his nuts. Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, so Smirin's pretty good, but he's old now. And at the tournament in China where we bumped into each other, in 9 rounds, he had 9 draws. It was the World Team Championship, which isn't bad. He's a very exciting player. So he's a world-class player who's over the hill, and Andrew Tang is a bad player who's good at online hyperbullet. So now you're going to see the difference. And you didn't even know that Smirin was playing in this tournament because he didn't do very. He got like -1 or 50%. Yeah, he did okay. Mm-hmm. Everybody here is like 2,900. Okay, so Tang traded. That's okay. He kept trading. Always trade. Bishop F8. Can't complain about that. Okay, he played B3. He wants to not only do that, but he wants to stop knight C4. Okay, and the engine says this is an equal position, and black has nothing to fear but Glenn Fleer. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. Now, every move starting with bishop G7 is like a hyper bullet move. Like, this move looks okay, but no real understanding of chess. So, in slow chess, Andrew Tang is like me, and in hyper bullet, he's top 5 in the world on the internet. Because in hyper bullet, it doesn't matter if you understand, it matters if you play really quickly and pretty good at tactics. But if you're playing somebody who's actually good, then, and it's a slow game, then you just lose. So, yeah. Now, this isn't a slow game, but it's slow enough where, Tang doesn't have any chance. Okay, so queen d2, good move, putting pressure on the knight, connecting the rooks, the rook is on fire, etc. Mainly, etc. d5, this is a blunder that loses the game. And obviously in hyperbullet, this move would be fine because Smirin would, furrow his brow in a vain attempt to calculate this, and his flag would fall. Yeah. Now, one thing you didn't know is not only was he Bill Brasky, and then he was Ilya Smirin, right? Mm-hmm. And now you will know his name is the Lord when he plays knife F5. You hear me talking, hillbilly boy? I ain't through with you by damn sight. I'm going to get medieval on your ass. So watch what Smirin does.
Okay.
Right? He gets smeared here, smearing all over him. And Andrew Tang's probably underage, so I don't know about that. So he played knife F5. Call that a knife? Yeah. Now, Tang has good defense here, except for one thing, right? And he unleashes the latent potential. And the engine says white's winning. And as the game continued, he was winning and then some, mainly and then some. All right, so he took, which is forced. Knight takes. Now, in this position, if I were white and it was my move, I would consider queen g5. Also, I would consider knight takes, king takes, queen g5. Okay, so white's not kidding here. However, black's pieces are defending the king. Knight h5. That's not the engine's best defense, but he's losing anyway. Takes. Pawn takes. Now, pawn takes is a clearance capture. Now, what's your clearance, Clarence?
I don't know. What's your victor?
The other way around. But you were good. You got it, but you said, what's your victor vector? We didn't even discuss this beforehand. I just thought you just like sit there looking at me. Yeah. Who was the co-pilot? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the reason for this move, well, she has COVID. The reason for this move is it unleashes the bishop. Now, by unleashing the bishop, if I play queen g5, you can't play queen g6. On the previous move, if white played queen g5, black would have played queen g6. But after e takes d5, Ish don't think so. Now, as I said several times already, these defend the king pretty well. And white has the two bishops, and black doesn't have the what else. But this is a pretty good knight. Okay. So he blockaded. After queen g5, he wants to play queen f8, obviously. So he defended. Now, in hyperbullet, this might be good enough for black. White doesn't know how to attack, and white loses on time. But this is real life. Okay, so he cements him down, right? Like the good mafioso would do. Bishop f6. That way black has no legal moves. So the game ended here as the game ended in stalemate. Now here's a funny computer idea. Usually computers don't have ideas, they just calculate. Watch this idea. You watching? That's the idea. And then when Smirin actually told Tang, that's my idea. And Tang said, I can stop that. And then Smirin said, you're a daisy if you do. Yeah. Okay. Now the problem is none of these pieces can do anything about that. So the truth hurts, basically. Yeah. See?
Yeah, what's the defense to just queen h6?
Also good, right. Then the defense is probably knight f5 going into a lost endgame.
Oh, yeah, they're blocking the bishop.
Well, you take the queen and take the bishop and you're winning. But,
well, no, I thought that you could go queen h7 mate because I didn't think
that's why you have to play this terrible move. Yeah. Also, frankly, it's terrible. Now, another idea, Karen, is queen h4 with the same mate. Then if he plays knight f5, you can take it. There's no queen trade. God damn. Okay, now here, white is down a piece for 2 pawns, and the engine says he's plus 10. Okay, so he played rook c8 attacking the bishop. Notice how the bishop is attacked, right? However, the bishop is not attacked. So we're going to go in the land of pretend. Ready?
I know why.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. So if you take this, it's not your move. What does white do?
Rook takes, then mate. Queen takes.
Rook takes e8. That's correct. By the way, after rook takes e8, okay, so we're going to pretend that white played here and black took, we're pretending. Okay, then we're going to pretend black played here. What's the best move for white? Delicious. recommended by everybody.
I mean, wouldn't you just...
No. You're going to go here, right?
Yeah.
No. Absolutely not.
Oh, I see.
That's why
That's why
Andrew Tang would beat you in hyperbullet. You take, and then your flag would fall up a queen.
All right. Well, queen takes 7.
Yeah, and god damn. And that's the guy that you guys think he's one of the best in the world. That's what you think. You're like, Andrew Tang, wow.
I really struggle to see pins.
Okay, so when I make really bad moves for him on purpose, then I really crush him. I beat Andrew Tang in like a Title Tuesday Arena Kings. I forgot. I beat him somewhere. No, 1 minute. It was 1 minute. That didn't even make any sense.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it might have been 3 minutes. Okay, so he played Rook E8. You can't take with the knight or the queen, so you have to take with a rook. And then he played your move. Queen H6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking about the fact that Andrew Tang... I have Andrew Tang's social security number.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So he played knight F5.
He played in one of our tournaments.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, low-rated players, which is all of you, are like, oh boy, trade when you're ahead. Queen takes queen, bishop takes, and white is winning. I agree white is winning there. White's barely winning. If you play queen takes queen, I recommend like a spelling contest because maybe chess isn't your game. Benjamin Bach rated.
Yeah.
He said he beat Bach. When you started streaming, it said play chess with your favorite streamer, and I was like, I'm not on your. What are you talking about? But you meant you were gonna raid me. Okay, so now I understand. Thanks, Benjamin. Everybody's Benjamin except me. Okay. Thanks for the raid. Somebody give him a shout. They already gave him a shout out.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Okay, now you watching this? Mm-hmm. When you can checkmate your opponent or take all their pieces, what would I tell you to do? Always retreat, right? Mm-hmm. So he played here. Notice he's threatening this and this, right? Mm-hmm. And if the knight moves, queen takes his checkmate as recommended by you. Also, bishop takes his checkmate. And if the knight goes here to block everything, right? Mm-hmm. Then after queen g5, black is embarrassed. You can see why Smirin used to be good. He's still okay, but he used to be the top 10 in the world. Okay, so he played queen h6. Queen takes. Now, white's up 2 pawns, and white has 2 bishops, and the knight is trapped, and white has a mating attack. Truth hurts. Bishop takes. He tricked him. See, if he takes this, then he takes this. So in hyperbullet, Tang would have already won. Smear would have lost on time a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Now, what button did white get here in this position brought to his table? It was brought to him by Dave Chappelle.
And they'll wrap it up?
Yeah. Okay, now you're going to like this move a lot.
All right.
Now, white has a mating attack and 2 bishops and an extra pawn. So always, same as the last one.
Repeat. Retreat.
Retreat, yeah. You watching this move? See how if you take this, that black takes that? Mm-hmm. And I've said this many times on many streams, not that you guys ever listen. When a piece is attacking another piece, whether you can take it or not, that's not good for the piece that's attacked. So he played bishop c3, attacking the knight, you agree, mm-hmm. and attacking the bishop. So what you going to do when he says goodbye? What you going to do when your pieces are gone? All right. So he played the only move, bishop e6, saving his bishop and attacking the queen. When the queen moves, he can save his knight. Queen e5, threatening checkmate with advantage. Right? Now, what should black never do here?
I don't know.
I am Rosen rated.
Yay.
That was one of the top 2 raids in the last 5 minutes.
Yay. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Aaron. Normally, did I say Aaron? Thanks, Eric. Normally, I wouldn't accept a raid for an IM, but you're pretty much GM strength. So I'll give you a break.
Yay. Thank you.
Yeah. Go Eric Rosen, but stay there. Yeah. Hey, Eric, you're pretty old. If you're still here, which you're not, do you remember when Smirin was good? Are you old enough to remember that? You might not be. He might not be old enough. It might have been he was like 10 when Smirin was just like smearing everybody. Yeah. Anybody? No. Eric left. He's like, God, I can't watch this stream. It's terrible.
There he is.
Yeah.
He's a busy guy.
I don't think I was alive then. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah. No, but here's what I want you to do, Eric. I have some homework for you. Go to Ilya Smirin on MSA US Chess, Then go to 2002 and such between like 1999 and 2004, and then look at his tournament history. Then you'll be like, damn. Yeah, he got to like 28.95 USCF. He won every tournament and then some. He was winning tournaments he wasn't playing in. And then go to the internets and type in Kramnik Smirin and Karpov Smirin, I think from 2002, where Smirin was black in both games and beat them both. And then what's funny, they were playing in Germany, so there was still some Nazi element around. And Smirin asked the guys, like, what do I do? He was afraid because he was in Israel. And he said, beat them both. Right? What movie?
I don't know.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Shoots them both. Yeah.
I didn't like those movies.
What? Boo.
I didn't like them.
Yeah. The Godfather, also possible. But anyway, the Smirin used to be good, trust me. Now he's my age, so truth hurts. Okay, so what did Black never play here?
I can't tell. They might be booing because I didn't like the movie.
Right.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What now?
What should Black never play?
FC?
Yeah, because getting mated's bad. Now, again, and I'm mad at you guys, and you didn't even do anything, but you would do it. There was some movie, possibly Vanilla Sky, but possibly some other movie. I don't know which one it was, where they know crimes you're going to commit in the future, then they arrest you. And this happened in Futurama. They did the same thing, right? So you guys didn't do anything, but I know you'll do it, so I'm mad at you. The people who are watching are like, ooh, queen takes pawn, and then after takes, white has the 2 bishops and 2 extra pawns and an easy win, which is all correct. But queen takes pawn's the worst move in the history of chess.
Hey, Laszlo Diamond.
I've never... Minority Report, that's it. What's worse, Minority Report or Vanilla Sky? Vanilla Sky is the worst movie ever, right?
I saw it. It's pretty bad.
Which one?
Money Pit.
Wait, which movie's worse? I looked like Tom Cruise and both. And your answer is the Money Pit?
Yeah.
Now,
I've
told you this story before, but you might have forgot, maybe, because I tell you a lot of stories. On Family Guy, they're in a panic room because they're getting robbed. The Family Guy people. And then the panic room is filling up with water, and they think they're going to die. So they start saying things like, when you're going to die. And he says, I didn't like The Godfather. So they yell at, Peter says that. So they all yell at him for like 10 minutes. And then he says, I like the Money Pit. And then a few seconds later, Chris says, I like the Money Pit too. Yeah, that's right. The Money Pit is the kind of movie for my viewers.
It's just one of the worst movies.
Right, but my viewers would like it.
I wanted to walk. I saw it when it came out in the theater when I was in high school. And I was with my stepsister. Did you even know I have a stepsister? I was with my... Well, not the one that you've met. There's another one.
What?
There's another one.
I didn't know I met one.
Yeah, my Catherine.
Oh, yeah, I know who that is.
But there's also Amy. Anyway, she wouldn't let us leave. She loved it.
Now, you said Catherine. Who's Charlie's twin sister?
Martha.
Martha?
I'm trying to think. Isn't that the twin?
Martha?
Or is it Suzanne? I think it's Martha.
Okay, who's...
Martha.
There's
2 sets of twins.
Who's the daughter with... What's his name? Who's the daughter and you guys were mad at each other? In Dothan.
I wasn't.
No, but,
briefly. She's her mom's cat.
No, who's the... No, she's the brother... She's the sister of the The guy who lived in Guam.
Yeah, Robert.
Right. Who's Robert's sister?
Catherine.
Catherine. Is that the one you're talking about?
No.
But it is Catherine.
That's one of the stepsisters. There's another one, Amy.
Right, but you're talking about another Catherine.
One Catherine.
There's only one Catherine?
There's one Catherine. One Catherine.
Wait, you're claiming that's your stepsister?
And my cousin.
Okay, now wait a minute. The cousin thing I sort of know about already. She's from the South. Okay. Also, she has COVID, so she's delirious. Now, wait a minute. Okay, so Robert's your stepbrother. Yeah. Forget that he's your cousin, too. I don't care about that. Okay, and Catherine's your stepsister.
That's right.
Okay, now, how are they? Now, is that because their dad is Charlie?
Yeah. There's another stepsister that.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
I didn't mean to get off.
There's one Catherine.
There's one.
You have to understand, everybody Karen knows his name Frank.
Well, there's Aunt Cat.
You have to understand that.
Aunt Cat is Catherine, so her mother is also Catherine, but we called her Cat. So I guess there are two Catherines, but
one of them's not called Catherine.
You never met the other one because she died.
All right, now to finish this game, because there's one more move in this game. So our YouTube editor is going nuts. Okay, all right. Now remember, when you're up a piece, when you have the two bishops, okay, and you have an extra pawn and a pawn's hanging and a knight's hanging, okay, then what do? Always, it's the same as the other answer. Yeah. Notice how that's checked because I said so, and notice how the knight's hanging. Mm-hmm. Now, if that game was played between two famous world-class players, let's say like Magnus and Nepomniachtchi, then whoever was black would be very embarrassed because that's embarrassing, right? White sacked a piece and white just ran over black like a Mack truck, like Mac from Sunny. Yeah. I can't watch Top Gun. I watched Top Gun like a few years ago for like 5 minutes and I had to turn it off. It's not watchable. I can't do it.
Frank is my brother. So, what is Smirin's? I know he's older. How old is he again? Like, what's his current rank?
He's like my age.
In like
26, 60 FIDE. He used to be better than that. He might be lower than that now.
So he's much higher rated than Tang.
Right. But you have to understand, the people who watch, like who are watching me and watch Hikaru and watch Gotham and watch Botez Sisters, and there's probably the Chess Bros, I guess, still exist, maybe. Those people, they live on the internet. They don't know there's an actual world around them. They're making another Matrix movie. But anyway, and so Andrew Tang to them is like one of the gods. He's like who's better, Andrew Tang or Carlsen? Now, if it's 30-second chess on lead chess, I don't know. Probably Tang. But if it's real chess where you think about your moves, I mean, he's me. It's weird that he could be as bad as me in slow chess, and he's like top 5 in the world in Ultra Bullet or whatever they call it. It's funny.
Does he go to college? You might be busy doing other things.
He does go to clown college. Yeah. In fact, he graduated this game. Yeah. Ivan Karamazov. Now I have a funny story about Andrew Tang. That's my story. Mm-hmm. When I quit the St. Louis Chess Club in August of 2012, at the end of the month, I went to Minnesota for the Noel Skelton Memorial. I'm sorry, the Noel Skelton Open, not Memorial. And in round 3 or 4, I played Noel Skelton. Mm. Before the tournament, I went to a chess club. I've been to memorials where the guy was there and alive. Okay. I've been to them, but not that guy. Yeah. So I went to a chess club in St. Paul area. I think it was in. If you said the town, I would know. It's not St. Paul or Minneapolis. It's some suburb. But anyway, and one of my opponents in the simul was like 11-year-old or 12-year-old Andrew Tang, right? Mm-hmm. And I was black in one of my closed Benonis where I tried to mate you on the king side. That didn't work. So, like the first game in the simul, usually I beat somebody in like 6 moves. My first game in that simul was losing to Andrew Tang. I did win all my other games, and then my second Andrew Tang story, which is better, is I was playing the guy whose name I can't remember. He's 2,300. I'm like 7-0 against him. But I can't think of his name. I can never think of his name. So Spencer's here. If you're here, Spencer, it's the guy who beat you in the last round in the tournament in St. Louis when you would have tied for first as you were like 2,000. And you were like +5 and you lost. That guy. Okay. Nolan Hendrickson. Thank you. Okay. So I'm playing Nolan Hendrickson in round 1 of the Spice Cup. Okay. And we're going to see later the same trap. We're going to see it soon. And then Andrew Tang sitting next to me, Nolan Hendrickson makes a blunder. He makes the move, and then I write it down. And as I write it down, Andrew Tang sitting next to me goes, that was funny. I set that blunder up a long time ago.
Hey, I want to ask for fifth now. Ben was full-time at the St. Louis Chess Club until then, but then he worked for them as a contractor for a few years. So you're right, he did continue to work there, but not as a full-time
Right.
employee.
No, the chances Andrew comes to the top 10 in Blitz are the same as me becoming world champion for 20 years. Yeah, he can't. This isn't bullet on the internet. This isn't hyper bullet. It's not ultra bullet. This is like real chess on a board against people who are good. You guys, you should all be ashamed of yourselves. Yeah.
And Caffeine Jones asked if we have COVID. I have COVID. Ben does
COVID.
not. But, I was crying on Sunday. I felt so bad, and, here I am today.
Now, Balloon Brigade says, when Hikaru fought Eric, I'm in the video. No, I wasn't there, so I wasn't in the video. You're confusing me with Yasser Seirawan. Andrew Tang's the nicest guy ever, and he's very strong. He's just, slow chess isn't his game. Ultra bullet's his game. All right, sorry. Okay, next game.
He's good.
If you're our YouTube person, edit all that out.
Yeah,
everything.
I'll tell
Edit out the whole video. Just show this and say white one. Okay. Okay. This is the second game. I don't want to go over all of it. It's Abdusattorov versus Carlsen, and I'm going to show 10 games of the stream. We'll take a break and we'll discuss the tiebreak format and all that nonsense. Okay, so let's get to some position of note. Okay, now.
It does suck, but,
Okay.
I feel fine now, so I guess at the end of the day, it wasn't too bad.
Okay. Now, we can't expect the players to play perfectly because they both have less than a minute and so forth. And it's move 50. Okay, the best move for white is putting in an H. He did do that, and then he missed. See, I thought black was going to play queen h7 when I was watching live, and I was like, man, that sucks for black. But Magnus found queen e8, now he's fine. Okay? And this is funny. When we watch the live commentary, it's really hard to watch because all the commentaries are unbelievably bad. And it made me sad I wasn't doing commentary because mine is me doing commentary is like if you put the brain of Carlsen, Kasparov, Fischer, and Karpov in one head and played chess and, something. Anyway, and here I was thinking white should play h6 because there's no discovered check I'm afraid of. And then the engine says h6, although it's a draw, but white's better. But he played bishop e3, which is fine. Okay, now Magnus went insane. So in this position, black's chances of winning are 0%. Okay, these pawns aren't dangerous, and this pawn is dangerous. Okay, so there's several ways to draw here. You can play queen here, or you can play the immediate draw, which you're going to like, and the chat's going to like, which is queen takes h5, because it puts it in h. And then after you take, I check, and we agree to a draw. Okay. And Magnus played for the win, which is also playing for the loss. Now, often, when Magnus plays for a win, when the position is a draw, he does win. The problem here is black could never win. I got that. So playing for a win's crazy here. He played f5, which is unbelievably bad. And the idea is if you take, knight g3 check forks the king and queen. But the only way this is going to be a draw if black gets some perpetual. Otherwise, this is going to win in the end. So this is an incredibly bad judgment by Magnus. And it's probably because his opponent's low rated in 17. And he's like, well, I'm playing some kid and the position's equal, so I'll beat him in an equal ending. The thing is, it is equal, although not now, but it's an equal where black has 0 winning chances. Now, the best move, which was not found, is to always retreat. Okay, and he didn't find it because he's not a student of mine, Abdusattorov. Notice, if you take this, there's knight check, and if you do nothing, queen check is annoying, and you have a move that stops both. Always retreat, king e1. Now, there are no checks, and the f-pawn's hanging now, and white's better. Okay, but he played h6, which is what I would have played. I like h6. Like, queen e5 is insane. He's playing for a win when you can't win. Okay, king f1 is okay. Queen d5 threatens knight here, check, winning the queen. Very sneaky. So king g2. Now here, I thought he would play king h2. Oh, the engine says king h1 because always retreat. But he played king h3. And now Magnus has good drawing chances after this. But black can't win because this is too strong. Now the gawking rabble, and by the gawking rabble, I mean Leko and Gustafsson, they were like, yeah, probably Abdusattorov can draw here. Magnus is playing for the win. I've never been so angry. Okay, either this pawn queens or it doesn't. If it queens, then white wins. Black can never win. Okay, so he checked, which is good. And then he checked again. And I was like, queen g7, queen g7, queen g7, right? Mm-hmm. And the commentators didn't see that. They're like, oh, now white has a perpetual check. Yeah, this love of Magnus has to stop. You got to look at the position. Okay. And then Magnus didn't play king here. Presumably he was playing for a win, although he would have lost anyway. It would have been the same thing. Always repeat. And then he played here. Now this is a draw, theoretically, but practically white just always wins. Black has no time on his clock, and I'm going to go here. So black's never going to draw this. And if it's an engine, then black's going to draw this. But if it's a human, black's not going to draw because I'm going to go here. I mean, so the game's over, basically.
Yeah, how would black draw it?
The engine says every move draws. So, you check a lot, so forth. Okay. So now he's probably losing or close to it. Yeah. They were praising Magnus for playing f3. They were like, wow, Magnus is a genius. He gave up his pawn so he has more checks. Yeah, real genius. All right. And then, obviously white's going to win because it's 2 humans playing. So he can't. There's nothing he can do. Yeah, this might even be winning already. Terrible. Always repeat. Yeah, now it's winning for sure. Yeah, soon it's going to be buenos, no checks. That check is terrible. Yeah. Queen 8, put it in H, the worst square on the board, making sure you can never do anything. And then Magnus blundered, but he was losing anyway. Now, nobody talked about this, and the engine doesn't like this move, but this is my favorite move.
Okay.
Here's a move you would never consider. And if I told you to tell me every legal move, you would miss this one. You'd be like, oh, I didn't see that. And this move is unexpected. It doesn't change the nature of the position, so Magnus was confused. Obviously, if I take this pawn, black has more checks, just like when he got up his f-pawn. So he played king c5. That's a really sneaky move. It's not a good move. It's just that Magnus isn't expecting king c5. So now Magnus can check here. Magnus can check here. Magnus could not check and play like b4.
So why did he play king c5?
It's not clear what black should do here, and black has seconds left. That's a great move. So it turns out this move draws and this move draws. He would have lost, but they draw with perfect play. Mm-hmm. But he played b4 triple question mark. Now the game's over. Magnus was trying to give his pawn away so he could have more checks. Check. You can't play queen b2. So he played king a1, which loses immediately. But he's actually losing immediately anyway. And then queen d4, he resigned. Because you trade queens and you queen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ben doesn't hate Carlsen.
What? Me and Carlsen are like, that, son. Right. Again, you guys don't understand what hero worship is. So, for example, when you guys are like, Kobe, and you mean it, you're like, Kobe's the greatest. Kobe's a good basketball player. I mean, he was. But that's it. Nothing else.
No, the kid who won did not cheat.
Nothing.
And nobody thinks that.
Right. You guys got to stop your hero worship. Everybody's a terrible person, especially the people that you worship. They're the worst. And they're good at something, and you guys aren't good at anything, so you're like, wow, he's good at basketball. Wow. And then you're like, wow, he must be a good person. All right. And so forth. You know, you guys learned about who Aaron Rodgers was recently. Terrible. Okay. Go sub. Man, I lost 400 subs. Okay. Does Karen know how to do the helicopter? What? Kobe? Yeah.
The what?
I don't know. Tom Brady, also a terrible person.
What does the helicopter mean?
Well, he like helicopter mom, and then he died in a helicopter. Helicopter, yeah. Too soon on Rodgers. I don't know. He's trying to make a joke, but he's not funny. Yeah, I like Joe Burrow. Yeah.
Yay.
Random 2600 from Yabba. Terrible. NJ Crispy. Yay. All right. So go Abdusattorov, our new ruler. Yeah. Now, I first saw Abdusattorov in 2012 and or 11. I guess 12. Not sure what year it was. In Maribor in Slovenia. In that event, Nordebek won the World Under 8. And don't be late. So I've seen him in World Youths all the time. What's funny, I was talking about him with the Fred Gwynn, and Fred said he likes the Youths.
I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Kobe. Yeah.
I don't know what any of that means. It's all right, though.
What's a Ute? Exactly. Yeah. And Fred Gwynn was supposed to be the guy in the movie we just saw, the pizza movie.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was played by somebody else because Fred Gwynn's not alive.
Hey, ZL1 Corvette.
Yeah, did you see My Cousin Vinny? I watch it almost every day because Marissa Tomei's in it. And then I start kissing the pillow. Terrible. Yeah. What's the matter with Ute? All right. Anyway, you guys aren't smart enough to get any of those jokes. All right, next game. If you're our YouTube editor, edit all that out. Okay. Now, this is Joe Bava versus Gukesh. And the only reason I'm showing this is the end is very funny. So we'll get to the end. This is the end. Let's see. We'll start here. Okay. This is sort of the middle, though. But the end was funnier than the middle. Okay. So in this position, black's up the exchange, right? And white's pretending he's attacking, right? And they were going to forfeit Joe Bava this game, I think right around here, because between moves, he was leaving the board, so they thought maybe he was cheating. And they found him playing Dance Dance Revolution, so they decided not to forfeit him. Now, true story. Based on a true story.
Man, it's hot down here.
I agree. Yeah. Okay. So he sacked his knight because he only sacked an exchange. Time to sack more. Now, when I'm playing 1 minute against the gawking rabble, this is how I play. However, when you're playing in the World Rapid Championship against somebody good, possibly sacking all your pieces isn't the right strategy. Could be wrong. Okay, so he took, and now you guys like white because white's down a rook, and you guys are always down a rook, but now he has an attack. So you guys are like, wow, it's even better. All right, so we don't have any pieces to attack with, and it's hard to get our rook involved, and if we play bishop g5, then there's bishop e7. So he played rook e1. That way he can play rook e3 to h3, or after bishop here, he can play like rook e5. So rook e8 with the idea of always playing bishop f8 and then Papa John's. Okay, then you attack my queen, I attack your queen, and then he plays here. Rook e5, as I said earlier. Now you know why he didn't go here, right? Forking the bishop.
Never play f6.
Never play f6, that's right. Also, f6 is winning. Okay. Yeah. Okay, now in this position, white doesn't have any threat, so the engine just plays like rook c8 and says, I'm up a rook. But he walked into the discovered check, confusing Karen. But there's not really a good discovered check, so he won the pawn on f7. And now black is up a rook, so that means white's down a rook. So he played here. He wants to get some attack. I don't see where it is. And then he's got 4 pawns, 1 for each of you. And the way this game ends is very funny. Yeah. And he goes and wins the c pawn. So 4 passed pawns, what else? But these 2 pawns just push.
Yeah.
And the king can't come over because the rook is stopping it. And that's what happened. Yeah, those pawns don't go anywhere. King e5 is really nice. Always move your king in the endgame. White wants to play king here in g5. So Gukesh is like, no. This doesn't do anything. This hangs this pawn. This doesn't do anything. So he went around the mountain where he comes, right? Mm-hmm. So now, thanks, Crispy. Now, if you queen, which does win, then f7 looks annoying. Because, you're trying to queen both of your pawns. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he just played king e6. Now, if you play king here, I queen would check. So he played king here, he queened, and then he resigned. But he still has 4 passed pawns. Of all the pawns that queened, it was the b pawn that wasn't passed, which later became passed. So it's funny, in this tournament, Karyakin had 1 out of 4, and then he got 8 out of 9. And Drobava was killing it. Drobava was on the top 5 boards every round, and then he ran out of gas. Then he lost to Rufus and Doofus. Terrible.
Hey, Jim Sintako. How's it going?
Yeah. Simon Williams also has COVID, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Also, some famous actor. Who did I tell you has COVID? They found out yesterday.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was some famous actor. Yeah, I don't know. It was somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Hugh Jackman.
It was Hugh
Yeah,
Jackman.
he's sort of famous. Hugh Jackman is so famous. You're supposed to say, how famous is he?
How famous?
He was in a movie with somebody in our carpool for school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's how famous he is. He knows people in our carpool that we drive to school and back.
Well,
That's pretty famous.
she used to be in my carpool for 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah.
But she goes to a different school now. That's true. She was in the movie. What was the name of it?
It had a one-word name. Logan. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We're talking about it recently. Yeah.
She was in Logan.
Now, I'm not saying it. I'm not making any claims, but when Karen told me she had COVID, not only was she texting Naroditsky, she was texting Hugh Jackman. So I don't know. Yeah. So forth.
Well, I feel much better.
All right. Next. Okay, I just want to show you the end of this game because we were just talking about it. Okay, this is Tigran Petrossian versus Gabriel Sargissian. They're both from Armenia, and I mispronounced both of their names. But only one of them cheats a lot. The other one almost never cheats, or probably never has. And when this game was over, it was such a crushing defeat. What did Gabriel do? He went pee-pee in his Pampers.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a biblical reference.
What?
I just went down the wrong path.
Yeah. COVID.
I didn't even know he was playing in this, Tigran.
not only was he playing, the other Petrossian was playing Manuel Petrossian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now let me explain something to you guys that you'll never understand. And I've explained it every stream. You would think Sargissian understands it. He's better than me. Now, Sargissian played me in the Chicago Open about 10 years ago. And when the game started, he wrote, Gabriel Sargissian. And then he wrote Alex Fishbein for my name. True story. Yeah. So I showed Varakobi and he started laughing. Okay. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. All right. Now, you have to understand the psychology, which you'll never understand. Never. I've told you guys 100 times, but you haven't listened once. This position, white has a big advantage because I have 2 center pawns and you have 0. Okay, I have another advantage too. You know what it is? Up a pawn. 5 pawns, 4 pawns. Okay, so white's technically winning. So Petrossian played double up on the bubble up. And Sargissian, who's known to not blunder, blundered. What separates super GMs from GMs like me is never blundering and defending worse positions and eventually turning things around. Gloria Estefan style, right?
What song are you referencing?
She turns the game around.
Oh.
Yeah. Turn the game around.
That wasn't even the original.
I know. But that's the only one that they know.
The Congo, whatever the Congo song,
All right. Now, since this pawn is attacked because I said so.
Her version's hard.
Remember how I said so?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you should play rook here, rook here, rook here. And white's winning, but the game would go on and on, right? Mm. They just keep on. And eventually, probably one of them would go pee-pee in their Pampers and so forth, right? Okay. Now, I want to tell you, I gotta tell you the pee-pee and the Pampers, but just a second. Okay? When I'm in St. Louis 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, etc., a lot of times there's several African-American players playing outside and trash talking. Now, what they don't realize is I was trash talking before they were born. Although some of those guys are older than me, so maybe not. Okay, and you know who I'm talking about. You know those guys. Mm-hmm. Anyway, sometimes I make off-color jokes because, what are they going to do? But more importantly, I made a joke, and I'm sure Tigran must have heard this, and so forth. Okay? And by that I mean he never heard it. Sometimes when I'm playing Blitz with those guys, and I'm like really crushing them, I'm like, man, I should have brought my diapers. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I'd be beating you babies so badly. And then everybody laughs. Okay. So I started with the Pampers. All right. Now, Karen, watch this. This is the psychology of chess. Ready? Right. Okay. Notice this pawn is defended. Mm-hmm. Then he undefended it. Right?
Right.
And he's rated like 49 million. So that means queen takes is probably bad. Otherwise, he wouldn't have played rook f1. So what did Sargissian do? He took it. Okay. And now you will know Nolan Hendrickson is the Lord when you see what he did. About 20 minutes ago-ish, I was talking about how I beat Nolan Hendrickson just like this. And this is a trap you see every day. And they were talking about it on the Chess 24 stream with Leko and Gustafsson. And Leko's like, you see this trap. And he's like, man, I'm always falling into that trap, Gustafsson. And Leko said, how do you always fall into that trap? You don't play chess anymore. Man, you got him good. And Gustafsson says, well, I still play some bullet. Okay. So are you watching?
Gustafsson doesn't play anymore?
In slow tournaments? Yeah, maybe like once a year. Okay, so are you watching? Mm-hmm. He played the obvious move. And now, Sargissian probably thought, by trading off this pawn for this pawn, we're getting closer to a drawn rook ending because there's going to be almost no pawns on the board, right? And this is a trap that you see every day that they were talking about. They didn't see this game. Now, right, Crush fell into it against Sabina. She was in time trouble, that's right. Hendrickson, everybody falls into it. Von Whaley's fallen into it. Okay, but the thing is, at this level, like I wouldn't consider Petrossian a super GM. Sargissian used to be a super GM. Now he's, long in the tooth. You don't fall for stuff like this. You just know it instinctively. Okay? So now the game is over. White's a play. He made a move and black resigned. What move was that?
Well, I already saw a bunch of people saying rook f8. That was not the move I was thinking of.
Right, rook f8. Because you see how the rook is defending the queen? Mm-hmm. Right, so then you can't do that. So now if you move your king up, I could take the queen and then take the rook, or I could checkmate you. They're both good. Yeah, it's not checkmate, but it's close. So for somebody of Sargissian's ilk, queen takes d4 is incredibly absurd. He's too good to do that, to lose the game immediately instead of fight. So hopefully he's ashamed of himself. Now you could argue, since they're both Armenian, the game was fixed, but I don't believe it.
So my move isn't listed anywhere.
Yeah, what's that?
I guess it's horrible. Queen h6.
Queen h6 threatens all kinds of checkmates. That is the third best move. It says number 3.
It's hard to see it from here.
Right. The problem is I play queen d2 check, and I trade queens. So you're not going to mate me.
What, you're going to do? What now?
I'm going to trade queens. Check.
I was worried about the checks. Oh, I didn't see
Yeah, we're going to trade queens.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not dumb. Yeah. Also, you have to analyze queen takes e4 check, and it's complicated. Yeah. Okay. So, him not seeing rook f8 is unforgettable. Forgivable. Yeah. And I showed this to Clint Eastwood yesterday, even though the game happened today. Mm-hmm. And what did he say that he would do about black? He said, unforgiven.
Okay.
Yeah. And Gene Hackman, who may still be alive, he agreed. Is Gene Hackman alive?
I don't think so.
Damn. But he was one of my favorite actors.
I thought he died.
I think he did die
I'm
recently.
Sure he died.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years.
Yeah. And so forth. All right. So that was an incredible blunder. Queen takes d4, and then he PP'd in his pampers after rook f8 check.
Hey, Ben.
Gene Hackman is alive. He showed you.
Hey, you can't comment on either one of our racks now. Come on.
They can't comment on yours?
No.
What? All right. Gene is 91 years old.
They didn't comment on mine.
I know. Yeah, I read the chat. Yeah. Bob Hoskins did die. Bob Hoskins always reminded me of that guy who's the greatest actor ever. Who's the guy in Succession?
The old guy.
Yeah.
I forget his name.
Yeah, him.
I'm not as in love with him as you are.
Well, I know Gene Wilder's dead.
I mean, he's good. But,
Ben Kingsley, you're banned. Spassky's not only alive, but he's coaching Nepo. That's true. Brian Cox.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Brian Cox is better, but they were both great. Yeah. Somebody pointed out Brian Cox's great discussion with Nicolas Cage in I know the name of the movie. Damn. They're going to get me. Meryl Streep.
Who is
Chris
that?
Cooper. I already forgot. Somebody tell me. Adaptation. Yeah. Did you see Adaptation? Mm-hmm. Remember when he goes to the class to learn how to write, even though he's a writer? Mm-hmm. And then he goes out, he says, can you help me? And the guy says, okay, let's go get a drink. That's him. That's the guy from Succession. But he wasn't as old then.
It's been a while since I saw it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we heard about you.
Now I hear that the teenage girls, they like Nick Cage. No. Yeah, you know. All right. Spencer got that and nobody else did. Okay, next. All right. Now, I've been explaining to people for many years, and you don't listen, Hovhannisyan is the thinnest chess player who ever lived. Okay, he's black against Hikaru here. Somebody go to their internets and type in Hovhannisyan chess, and then when you see a picture of him, you'll be like, okay, so do that. While you're doing that, I'll get a period. Still have pants on. Ridiculous.
Nick Cage has 50 good movies.
Well,
you would, but you couldn't spell it, C.L. Smith.
Yeah, you just put the word chess in. So
hey, Nick Cage has that new movie coming out where he's himself in the movie.
Nick Cage has an Academy Award, and you have a loaf of bread that expired in October. That's true. I did throw out that.
He's a twig.
Yeah, did you guys look up Yeah, the Hovhannisyan guy. When I was at the World Team Championship, he was the first alternate, and he only played one game, and he won. And that was it. And when when we went to eat in the, like where I bumped into, Smirin, when we went to eat, usually the teams ate together, and then so the Armenian team ate together, but I never saw Hovhannisyan there. I guess he's not allowed to eat.
Yay, thank you for the raid, Alicia
Yeah.
Zoo. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anyway,
Big raid.
he played Ray Robson in the World Junior in 2011 in Chennai, and I was coaching Ray, but I was sick at that point. And he made Ray Robson look obese. Yeah. Ray Robson was kicked out of India for being too fat. Man, truth hurts.
Yay, thank you for the raid.
Okay, now I don't care about this game because the game's very badly played. So we're going to get to the part that I care about. Now, I wasn't sure if I should care about it or not. So which character in Rick and Morty did I ask, Karen?
Well, I only know some names. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, he's not a normal character.
Oh, I'm not going to know.
Yeah. Water tea.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it's iced tea, but it's
Yeah.
water tea. I was very sad to learn that the person who played iced tea, water tea, in Rick and Morty was not iced tea. They just got one of the random guys to do it. Terrible. I've never been so upset. Okay. Now pay attention.
I am.
Now here's the part that's shocking and appalling. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to win this position, you were like forced to, would you rather have white or black?
I'm never good at evaluating.
Doesn't matter.
I like, black's about the queen here, but they got the rook on it. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 pawns, 4 pawns. Material's even. But the queening square is not the same as
You're trying to evaluate the position.
yeah.
If you had to win, do you want white or black? You had to win.
Well, I'm not good at winning.
Doesn't matter. You get to have white or black here.
I don't know, black.
Okay, I agree. The engine says black's better. I have a pass pawn in the 7th rank.
Yeah.
And I can never lose. Okay, and that's and Hovhannisyan has a thinness of steel. Or is that Karpov? Okay, but somehow Hikaru won this
Oh, really?
with white, which is shocking and appalling. It's a good thing it wasn't Magnus. Whenever Magnus has a dead draw and ending and his opponent blunders, instead of saying, man, that guy's an idiot, he blundered, which is what you should say, you guys are like, oh my God, Magnus, he could win with a pawn against every piece, because you guys are all idiots. God.
You like white?
Never
You
met
like
such
crispy?
dumb people.
Oh,
Okay.
They're not dumb.
No, they are, because they think when Magnus wins dead drawn endings that he has superpowers, not that his opponents fail miserably. Okay, so watch the rest of the game. I don't like h5. Don't like h5 because it weakens g6. I don't like it. Okay, fixes his pawn on g6. Now, by the way, in this position, in this one, if we go back, oh, maybe it's forward. I don't know. We're going somewhere. Yeah. No, it is forward. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so in this position, he played rook b4. Okay, that's okay. Rook b7. Right. And this is the position where... Okay, now, when I was watching the commentary with Gustafsson and Lako, which is like the only watchable commentary, that's barely watchable. God. Why is everybody so bad at commentary? I was like, I wonder if Hovhannisyan's going to win. And the engine says it's a draw, but, very, very, very slightly better for black. Now, if Carlsen was playing this game, and it was like any two commentators, like any two, except me, they would say that he's playing for a win. It wouldn't matter if he's white or black. They're just like, it's Carlsen, so he'll win either color. Okay, so they were like, why isn't he forcing the draw by playing rook here, and then rook takes as a draw, and if you move the rook away, rook here is a draw. And I was like, if I was black, I wouldn't force a draw either. Black has a pawn in the 7th rank that's queening. So they were like, man, he missed this opportunity to draw. And I was like, opportunity to draw? Got passed pawn in the 7th rank. Okay, so he played here. And again, the engine says it's a draw, but it'd slightly rather have black. Now it was clear that Hovhannisyan was playing for a draw, which is why this move is weird. Okay, because he just did this. He just moved his bishop back and forth. Now, it could be he just wanted to gain time on the clock because there's an increment. So that's also a good idea. Okay, and Hikaru moves his king over to the, this side of the board, to the queen side. That way the pawn's not dangerous. Okay, still a draw. I mean, white's not better here. No. Yeah, king g8's not, I mean, bishop e7 I think is just an easy draw. This is a draw too. Right. Or g1. So Hovhannisyan's drawing by just trading everything. All right, and then he played king e2, which is fine. And then black blundered. So, you can't take this pawn because your bishop has to stay here. Mm-hmm. So these pawns are sort of safe now. And I'm just going to take this attack. Okay. So he wants his king over here defending. He wants the king here defending his g pawn. So he played here. Okay. Now, the problem with rook g3, and when I say there's a problem, there is no problem. Problem with rook g3 is the rook isn't defending b1. So that means the bishop can wreak havoc. Take this, check and take this, because the rook's... Okay. Mm-hmm. Now this is still a draw. You take this, then you take this, you lose these two, and it's a draw. And the engine says all zeros. It says every move is all zeros. And he made an elementary blunder here, and like, if Magnus was white, they would have said, oh, Magnus this, and Jebediah that, and Ezekiel this. And I would have said, the guy blundered a piece. Because here, black blundered a piece. Now, Karen will back me up that all zeros, right? Every move, all zeros. Every move. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he blundered with this move. Okay, and if you want to know what an intermezzo is, or a Zwischenzug, or you want to pronounce correctly, you're in the right place. So here's what he was thinking. First of all, he was thinking Arby's. Okay. He was thinking, if you take it, I take that, and that's a draw, and that's correct. He's thinking, if you don't take it, I'll take that, and that's a draw, and he was correct. And white has a very simple win here. If you were doing like Puzzle Rush or Tactics Trainer, this would be like in the middle. It wouldn't be the easiest, but it wouldn't be the hardest. So white to play and win. Go, Karen.
Play and win.
The ability to not blunder is really important in Blitz and Bullet, and it's more important than opening theory and strategical considerations. And that's why people like Naroditsky and Tang, who are really, really, really good at bullet and hyper bullet and slow chess, Naroditsky's okay, and he's a lot better than me, but he's not top 20 in the world, top 50 in the world, top 100 in the world. And Tang is like me. But the skills that will pay the bills in Bullet and Blitz are that's what's on trial here, and that's what Nakamura is good at. Nakamura worse or equal the last 30 moves, and now his opponent blunders a piece. Nakamura didn't blunder a piece, so that wins.
It seems like you could check. I just don't know which one's better with the bishop.
Right. Well, you don't want this pawn to queen, so you check here.
On this,
right.
Side.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If you check here, then you
and then you lose your bishop if the knight has to take.
The knight?
No, I mean the rook. Yeah. I see now.
Yeah. So he just played check, and the game's over. I mean, it's ridiculous. He hung a piece. Yeah. I've never been so angry. All right, and the game concluded. And then Nakamura played a trick at the end that was unnecessary because he has a good sense of humor. Nakamura played a funny move here. Totally unnecessary, but funny. Here. He's the funniest. And then resigns. Every move won, that was just like the funniest way to win. Yeah. And so forth. Right, 3 good moves. Bishop h7, bishop h7, and bishop h7. Hammer and Crush sounds like the best cop buddy movie ever. It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with Spencer and others. I don't like Hammer's commentary. And I can't stand...
But, Karen, why don't you like my commentary? I execute the English language quite well.
It's difficult. It's difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, truth hurts.
They do at least look at a variety of games. Over on Chess 24, they look at 2 games. That was pretty...
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mr. Floopy. He is enthusiastic. But if you're enthusiastic about every single move, then it's hard to know what's to get enthusiastic.
Hammer's name is actually pronounced Yoon Ludwig Hammer, not Hammer. So, yeah, it's not as funny as MC Hammer. Who's more talented? Hammer at chess, Yoon, or MC Hammer at, I don't know, entertainment? I don't know what he does. What do you think?
I don't know MC Hammer's work well enough to speak.
Work? Wow.
Yeah.
That insults everybody else's work. Man. Man, the truth hurts. MC Hammer is better at big trousers. That's true. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys love Hammer. I mean, I'm sure he's a very nice person.
All he knows is Karen's looking good.
Just don't like his commentary. Thank you, Eduardo.
MC Hammer best at bankruptcy. Yeah, Hammer was higher rated 10 years ago than he is now. Yeah.
But
man, the chat's pretty smart.
he grew on me a little. I did tell Ben he was growing on me a little.
Who, Nerditsky? Oh, what?
No, Hammer. So,
okay.
Once I got used to the voice.
No, players usually getting worse in their 30s now. It's the way life is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, time to drop the hammer. Now, none of you saw this game except me, so I want a lot of donations because this is going to brighten up your day. This is the game Dreev, Demidov, and Karen likes Dreev because Dreev's old. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to get to the important part of the game. Okay, so Dreev has been winning or better the whole game. This looks like Karen's black and a French, right? Looks like all your games are black and a French. You're just like, no, this sucks.
Doesn't look like me.
What do you mean? It looks exactly like me. Okay, so
that's not what happened.
He played d4 check, so his bishop is good. See? Mm-hmm. Good. All right, if it's free, it's for me. Then now his bishop's good on this diagonal. Pretty good. Okay, and I'm sure when Demidov played this moves, he had the idea in mind, which you're going to see. Now he's threatening this. You agree? Okay. King h7. Now he wants to take with check. And he does. And now Dreev is like, you will know my name is the Lord when I play knight here check. Okay. Now again, based on the moves that Demidov played, Dreev should have been suspicious.
I forgot about Dreev.
That's right. Very good.
That's what they said. That was
I was trying to make a joke on Fergalicious because it's suspicious. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Now here, black totally ignored and even made white's move better by playing rook here. Right? Knight check, king here. In this position, white is still probably winning, and the only winning move, which will confuse you to no end, is to always retreat. And I think the reason for that is my king has the h4 square when you start checking me. I can go there and I'm safe.
Okay.
Okay. And that move probably wins, and that's the only winning move. And Dreev is like, WTF instead of, WFT. Because his king can hide here. Mm-hmm. Okay? And white's up 1 million pieces. Now the game is drawn. You have one move that draws. Delicious.
One move that draw. Okay, so yeah, the king can't move right now to any squares. So if I give away my rooks, then it's...
Right. And the thing is, if you start this way, you can't give away both of your rooks. When I go up here, you can only give away one of them.
Right.
So you have to play rook e3.
Right, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That he tried not to take the rook, but trying is the first step to failure. Now, if you move your king back, you get mated.
Right.
You got to take the rook. Yeah, and now you check up and down the d file.
Oh, yeah, and he can't...
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what white takes with unless it's the knight. If the knight takes the rook or blocks, then there's no stalemate. But we don't actually need this rook here to be stalemate. That's actually not the... This is the piece that's stalemating you. Mm-hmm. But there's no way you can do anything where your king is getting up here and you're blocking with the knight. Yeah, and then they just... and then draw. Yeah, and here's what's funny. You ready for funny? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's say you go here, right? What's the only move that draws for black? Very funny move.
Let's see. There. Your rook g5.
She would have solved it quicker, but she has COVID. Yeah.
No, I was just making sure.
Yeah, and then draw. Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like that was right.
So instead, Dreev did this.
I'm a little slow.
Yeah, and then you just keep checking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now you can check here forever.
Yeah.
You can't stop me. I can pre-move these checks that don't exist. And then draw. And so Dreev got tricked there. Yeah. Yes. Are you scared to catch COVID? I'm a grandmaster. I've drawn many lost positions down material in the endgame. I'm not scared of nothing.
I mean, I was the most contagious at...
Except spiders.
By the time I knew, it was kind of too late. To quarantine from Ben.
What did Carole King say?
It's too late.
Yeah. Is it her?
Baby, yeah.
It could also be Carly Simon. Nobody knows. I think they're the same person.
It's Carole King.
I know. Mm-hmm. No, I've never lost winning positions.
You've
never.
got COVID too, Dorothy Ziegler.
COVID.
I was crying on Sunday because I felt bad, and tonight I feel normal, and I'm drinking a beer.
The main reason she was crying is she read my book, Cry Like a Grandmaster.
I mean, it went from bad to, almost back to normal.
Right, nothing can move. That sentence didn't make a lot of sense, but yeah, nothing can move, and it's his turn, so it's stalemate. Right. All right, next game. Next. Okay, I just want to show the end of this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine's got to be Omicron.
Okay. So Gukesh was winning the whole game. I knew Gukesh was winning because the commentator said they'd rather have black. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, okay, white's winning. All right. And the engine just says white's winning, and it's not even hard. No, that's what she said. Knight takes. See this trick? If you play knight takes, queen takes g2 check. Mm-hmm. Okay. But, the truth hurts. You take anyway. It's just check. So now white's up a piece, right? And the black has nothing, and white's just winning. Always play bishop f1. Bishop's defended by the queen, so there's no bishop g2 with any threat. And white's up a piece, and white's threatening here, and so forth. Okay, so if Gukesh had won this game, and he's completely winning here, then Abdusattorov wouldn't have been a story this tournament. The engine says white's +5, black can resign, etc. Okay, but it's tricky. Plays for tricks. Okay, rook here. Knight here's not the best move. The best move is queen c3, defending the knight. Thanks for the $2.
Yay, thank you all for waffle.
Yeah. Yeah, newer. Yeah, that's pretty good. when George was explaining that the word manure was good because it has ma and newer, and they're both good, right? Who was he talking to?
I don't know.
It's also from My Cousin Vinny, the actress. Marissa Tomei.
Yeah.
He was explaining to Marissa Tomei, ma newer. Yeah. Okay. Now, what's good about queen c3 is not only are we defending the knight and threatening c6, but we also threaten the knight check and the queen takes the rook. Thanks for the 5 subs, Ben and Donner. Okay. So he played knight f3, which also wins. There's nothing wrong with that. Queen retreated, attacking the rook. Now here, white should have castled queenside, but he missed it. Okay. He played rook c1. That's winning. He doubled up on the bubble up. Okay, and in this position, he played c6, which is great. And black played queen here, and white blundered. Delicious.
You said white blundered?
White blundered here. Okay. So if white plays bishop e2, okay, he could have been afraid of bishop a6 because if queen takes rook. But just queen c2, Papa John's. And white's just up a piece, and we're going to trade all the pieces. Just plus 3.5 or something. Instead of bishop e2, he took this, and now he's no longer winning. Okay, now you see the knight? Mm-hmm. It's overworked. It's defending e5 and d2. If the knight wasn't there, queen d2 would be mate for black.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard for Gukesh to not do this because Gukesh is up 2 pieces, and he's threatening mate in 1. Sounds good. But Abdusattorov now got a draw. This was the move that blundered the game away. Rook e5 check. You can't take the rook because this is mate. So bishop e2 is forced. Takes. You can't take the rook because you get mated. So you play king f1. Always play king f1. Take, take. And then he thought this was probably a win for white. White's up a piece, and white's threatening mate. Mm-hmm. So sounds like white's winning. In this position, Leko had a really interesting suggestion, which the engine likes. It says it's a draw. It's check, sack your queen, and then take this. White's up a queen, but he can't take this pawn because rook h3 is mate. Yeah, this is really good shelter for black. And black's going to play e5 next move, defending this pawn. And Leko thought black had drawing chances here, and the engine says this is a draw. So Leko's pretty creative. But black found an easier draw. So he sacrificed his rook on f2. He retreated, always retreat, check. You can't let him play queen g2 mate, so you have to take the rook. And now it's perpetual. And then draw. They agreed to a draw here. Because this is check, check. And this probably loses. Oh, this draws too, it says. But you can't stop me from checking you. Can't go here because you lose your rook. And you can't play queen e2 because you lose your rook here. So that game ended in a draw. But Gukesh could have easily won that game if he didn't make a couple of mistakes. So, yeah, he just had to play bishop e2 here and he would have won. But he played there, and now it's a draw. Truth hurts. I think Gukesh is like the same age as Abdusattorov. Damn. Yeah. Who can it be now? All right, next. Okay, now nobody knows this game but me, because this isn't a game you would watch. But I watch all the games because, I'm Grandmaster. If Spencer's watching, he's going to be... Oh, Spencer is watching. What happens this game is not possible. White is so winning, it's impossible not to win. Impossible. And he ends up losing. I still can't get over it. Okay, so we're going to get to just some random winning position. I don't know. Okay, this is barely winning, but obviously white's winning. This is the greatest bishop ever. This is the worst pawn structure ever. And this is terrible. Okay, but I don't care about that. Let's go forward. Let's go back a little bit. Okay. Right, this is plus 3.5 for white. White's up material and completely winning. Queen F1 is actually the best move. If Spencer was playing a slow game and lost with white, and we were still running the chess center, he would destroy the chess center. I would help him too. So I thought Marta Rosa was going to resign every move. I thought black was just going to resign every move. And Gureyev is white. I mean, not resigning is insulting. Yeah, this is the worst thing that's happened in not chess history, human history. Okay, rook d8. By the way, white's playing great. White lost this game. If you told me I could get COVID, have a 50-50 chance of surviving, or I would lose this with white, I'm taking my chances with COVID. I can't lose this with white. Life isn't worth living if you lose this with white. Where's Spencer so he can choke on his rage?
I like that Melzeth says doubled pawns, guaranteed loss.
Yeah. No, but like Spencer, Gureyev lost this with white.
I'm not sure that Spencer's still there.
He's definitely here. He just can't believe what's happening. He can't even type.
Oh, there is.
Couldn't have happened to a better guy. That's right. Is this a draw? The engine says +5 and my engine's bad. Engine was good, it would say +10. Duh bears. I can't imagine losing this with white no matter how badly I played. Okay, continue. Okay, so this position is +10 on a bad engine, the chess.com engine. Every move is +10. Rook here, g5, doesn't matter. Yeah. If I was white against Magnus, Magnus would resign. And he would be like, how do I have black in this position against Ben? That's what would happen. Tell him what the engine evaluation is.
+11.
And that's every move is +11. When you're better at chess, like if you're as good as Spencer, you would know how bad black's position is here. Spencer's the only one watching who understands like how lost this is for black. Except for the engines, they know. Okay, rook f8, fine. Now the engine says g5 is +15. Threatening queen h5 with advantage. So if you play queen h1 to play mate Karen, then I could play rook h6. After g5, you can't play rook h6. Mm-hmm. The analysis it gives is really funny. Watch this analysis. You watching? Mm-hmm. Okay. Rook g8, forced mate. If you take with the queen, check and mate. And if you take with the king, check, and then rook here, check. And you can't play king g6 because this is mate. So you have to go here, takes, here, 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 so forth. Nobody's going to play that, but that's a funny computer line. Okay, so he played rook h2, which is bad, but still completely winning. He's +5. That move is bad. Queen a8 resigns after queen a8, but he played here, also winning. King a2 is fine, also winning. Queen e3 is the best move, threatening this. That's a terrible move. Now it's +7. Yeah. Now there's an immediate win where the game would have ended. If Gureyev had played this move, Martirosyan would have resigned. I guarantee it. Rook f6.
I was looking at that.
Okay, threatening. Rook takes queen. If the queen moves, then mate.
Yeah.
So the only move is to check. Move the king. You can't check here because of the queen. You can't check here because of the rook, so you resign. So rook f6 resigns. Could have been the end of the game, but he played queen check, gained some time on the clock. Then he played b3, which is awful.
He's in a trap back there.
Right, and now after a4, there's no mates because black can play rook g7. So now white's like much better, but not even winning anymore, like 1.7. Now the game's a draw with correct play. That's a horrible blunder, losing immediately. Okay, so in this position, black has to play take this with check or rook e7. And he played this blunder, losing the game immediately. Gurev blundered with that. After queen h4, white's winning. White's threatening mate. You can't play rook h7 because this is mate.
Wait,
so the game's over.
Wait, so you said e4 was
e4 is a terrible blunder by Martirosyan. After he didn't play the winning move.
Okay.
After he played rook g5 double question mark. Goes here, the game's over. Threatening mate. Resigns.
Right.
Resigns. Yeah. Game's over. Okay, so after e4, he played check, check, check. Now it's a draw with correct play. That's terrible. Now black's better, but it's a draw. Now this is a pretty simple draw. Yeah, and rook e2 is bad. He should be pushing his a-pawn and moving his king over. Rook e2 is just a bad move. Yeah, and now black's winning. And resigns.
Oh, that went downhill fast.
I mean...
Oh, they had like 10 seconds, Spencer says?
Yeah, but... terrible.
Gurev is a troll.
Gurev missed so many easy wins. And like to outplay somebody like that strategically and they can't legally move, and Magnus is like, can I tag in? And Gurev's like, I got it. I mean, that's... In a lot of slow games between players 2,400 and up, black would have resigned that game like 10 moves in a row. That's why you never resign. Yeah. The better you are at chess, the more upset you are at Gurev losing that game. I mean, just forget it's Gurev if you don't like Gurev. Just that white lost. It's a tragedy to the chess world that white lost that game. Mm-hmm. It's also a travesty. Yeah. I mean, I mean, to lose, like, I could just show you so many positions where you can't possibly lose, but this is a good example of one. White losing here is impossible. But, I mean, this is just black resigning every move. I've never been so angry. Yeah. And so forth. Doesn't upset you at all because you're under 1,300 Karpov. Yeah. Yeah, if you showed this position to your GM friends and said, this is 2 GMs, 2,600 FIDE, and white lost, they wouldn't believe you. They would be like, no, white didn't lose this. You're crazy. Like, did white lose on time? Was it a 1 minute game and white made an illegal move? You know, it wouldn't be like lost on the board. Yeah.
You're going to sports bet on Gurev to win it all next year.
No, Gurev is not whatever you said he was. He's from Uzbekistan, I think, originally. He's not Azerbaijani. Yeah, I think Uzbekistan. Okay, next. Karyakin Firouzja. I just want to show you the end of the game. I don't care about the game's very interesting, by the way. They got to this ending, and I want to show you where he messed up. Yes, okay. Okay, so this is a draw, and black blundered here. More than one move draws, but the move that the engine gives first, that's the move that I like, because I find it amusing. And he made another move, and then he was lost, I think. Karyakin actually got 8 out of his last 9, but he started out so badly, it literally didn't matter. It figuratively did, but not literally. Yeah. Yeah, you got to erase that Gareev autograph or people will think, yeah. All right, so I'm going to show you the best move for black. Ready?
Okay.
Here. That's what you would have played. See, if you take the rook, I take that, and that's a draw. So here. Now, the reason we're playing here, there's a reason, is I want to play knight d5. Once I play knight d5, I'm going to draw because my knight's back in the game. And then, you can't win. My knight and king's next to each other is a draw. So the engine says white's barely better here. Okay, but he blundered Firouzja, okay? And the reason, now, I actually talked to Firouzja after the game, and he said, if I had won this tournament, that Magnus would really want to play me. I don't want to play Magnus, so he sort of did badly on purpose.
Is a knight versus rook generally an easy draw?
It's a very easy draw. Yeah. Now, that's not the only move that draws. That's just the move that I like. He blundered with this. And the reason that's a blunder is his knight can't go to d5. And his knight can't go to c6. And his knight can't go to a6. So that's a terrible move. He took the d5 square away from his knight. So now white played here, and white's winning. Now the black knight can never get, near the king where it's going to be a draw. You need the knight around the king. If the knight's like floating around somewhere, then white's going to win. So rook here was a blunder, and now after rook here, he's lost. Okay, knight d3 is the only move that's not plus 45. And king d7 is also a blunder. King f7's better. He's still losing, but king d7's bad because you're cutting off, like you're taking away squares from your rook to defend your knight. Terrible. So he checked, which is a blunder. Now, the reason he checked and blundered, he's still winning, is he wasn't thinking about winning these pieces. He was thinking about doing a mate. Okay, so this is sort of embarrassing, but he should have gone here. Then the game would have ended more quickly. Then he would have resigned.
Oh, yeah.
That's embarrassing. The players have no time on their clock. They don't play so well. Yeah. But he didn't realize that black trapped his rook because his rook just got trapped and he's moving instantly. His move also wins. Okay, now he checks. The king goes here, so the rook can't escape after king e4. Now he threatens mate. So he has to play rook d8. And he plays here, which traps the knight. Okay, and the knight can't go to b4 or b2 because rook here check wins the knight. Okay, now this move turns out to be a blunder, and knight e1 is a draw now because the engine says so. So in this position, he could still win with rook b6 check. He did play knight e1. Now he's drawing again. Always repeat. Then he did this to trap the knight some more. Always trap the knight.
But
here,
how is that?
Well, the knight can't go here. You agree?
You said now he's drawing again.
Yeah, this is a draw, but he missed the drawing move here, I think.
Okay.
Which I don't blame him. I mean, he has no time on his clock. No, he played the drawing move. Oh. He played rook f8, the only move that draws. So his knight has a square. Now he's threatening check and takes, and his knight gets out.
Oh, I see.
Okay, check. Now this is funny. One of these moves has good drawing chances, and one loses immediately. Which move do you think is better for black?
Let's see.
Turns out they both lose, but one's worse.
I really don't know. King a8, I guess.
That's worse because your king's trapped. You're trapping your king in the corner.
Yeah.
So then white can get his rook somewhere and try to give mate. But he has to prepare it because we're threatening rook check and rook takes rook. So if he plays here, which he did, and I play king e2 attacking your knight, and then this rook is going to come somewhere and it's going to checkmate you here. So you play king c8, still losing maybe. Always repeat. King e4. Yeah, now knight g2 is the only move. And he played it. And then he repeated again. See how he always repeats?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he repeats a lot. Okay, then he plays rook h2. Rook h1 was considered better. In fact, I think rook h2 is a blunder. After rook h1, I want to play rook here check and rook here mate.
What?
After rook h1, I want to play rook check
Okay.
and then rook mate.
Oh, I see now.
But he played rook here, and he's like, hey, move your knight so I can do that same mate. and then Firouzja said, stop talking. Okay, check is the only move. Rook g4 is the only move. Rook g7. It doesn't matter what he plays there. Check is good. And then rook h1, and he has the same idea. Even if this is a draw, which it's not, practically the black can't defend everything. Only a computer could. But the engine says it's lost. But he's trying. Then he trades rooks. And then he plays king f5, always retreat, because the knight's trapped. If the knight was anywhere here, it would be a dead draw. But the knight can't. There's nowhere to go. If you play knight here, I play king here, and your knight has to go back. So he played here. Now he can go here, right? All right, now. See?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The knight wants to escape. Where can white put his rook and stop all three escape squares?
Let's see.
Defends all three of them. Then you'll be a super grandmaster.
Let's see.
He didn't play it. Because this doesn't really help. But this is good technique. How do you stop the knight? Rook here.
Oh.
Okay. Now, that doesn't matter to Karyakin. He just moved his king in. Because knight here doesn't really escape. There's nowhere to escape to. So he's mean. Okay. And then he attacked the knight. Now, if the knight goes here, rook here wins the knight immediately. So he did the same thing. This is really nice what he did. He wants to play rook here. Then you'll see the knight's trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to play rook here, but he can't because the knight defends it. So he checks him and then plays rook here. So the knight's trapped. And here comes rook e2. So then he resigned.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Karyakin has good technique even with no time. There were some mistakes, but not many. Yeah, that game was crazy, by the way. You should look at that game before that. This was just like the fun part. I like fun stuff. Okay, this is Nakamura Carlsen, and we could look at a little bit. Okay, here's what I wanted to look at, actually, was this position. Okay. I'm trying to go back, but I'm going forward. Okay. All right. Okay, in this position, Nakamura made a mistake, and after the mistake, the game's a draw, but he should have an advantage here. You see how he could take the bishop? But he shouldn't. He should just play bishop d2, defending his pawn. Then he can play c5, he can put his knight on f5, and white's a little bit better. Bishop d2, white's a little bit better. The bishop ain't going anywhere. Bishop's trapped on d4, and that saves my pawn. But Naka took, and now Naka thought for like 7 hours. This is the longest thing probably Naka had in the tournament. One variation they were looking at was bishop d, Leko and Gustafsson. Mm-hmm. Bishop here, takes here. And now Leko only looked at this and I was screaming out rook b1, but they couldn't hear me because I was at home. After this is just a draw. But this move, you try to get the queen off of the rook so you could just take it and keep your pawn there. Okay, queen a3, rook b3, and now the engine says you have to take this. And that way you have a rook and a knight for a queen plus this nice passed pawn. And this is probably a draw because that's a monster. Mm-hmm. The engine says white's better, but I don't know. I almost want to have black here because I like that monster passed pawn. Okay. So here he thought forever and ever and ever, and he ended up playing bishop g5, which is not the best move. And then he did this. Now, to me, this is only a position black could win, but it should be a draw. And the engine says rook d3 is a draw. But he blundered with queen f5. And now, I don't understand. Magnus made a very strange move here. And then Naka made a strange move. So the obvious move is to take this. 2 connected passed pawns, and we defend our d-pawn. And then the engine's like, man, I like black a lot. So I don't know. If you take this, which is like sort of the obvious move, maybe he missed queen e6. I don't know what he missed. I don't know. This is just terrible for white. I mean, I got 2 passed pawns. And I'm a pawn up. So I don't know what the players missed. I don't know. Because Naka thought forever. And then he took and played queen f5. So he must have analyzed this. But the engine's like, well, black's just much better there. Okay, Magnus played rook e8, which is, okay. Now the game should be an immediate draw. Naka should play queen g4 check and then take this. And then the engine says it's a draw. But he played here, now he's worse again. Because that's pretty good. That's, and I got my rooks in the center. Okay. Naka played queen g5, which is not a good move. And then Naka played f4, which is not a good move. And here, Magnus made a slight inaccuracy, but I literally don't care. He took, which is fine. Yeah. Now here, Magnus played rook e5, and after here, Magnus thought like 7 hours in a game 15. Can you believe that? He's a world champion. Okay. Now, everybody on Earth would play c5 without thinking and bang the clock. And then black has a big advantage. And Magnus decided to give all of his advantage away and play d3. Doesn't give all of his advantage away, but it's not a good move. Okay, then rook d2 is an excellent move. Rook f3 is good, and now the game is just a draw. Just a draw. Okay, and rook g3 is absurdly bad. Hikaru went into an ending he thought was a dead draw, but he was losing it. So what he should do is check and force the king here. So you're going to play like this. And then black can do the same thing. Black can check, and you have to go here. And now you're going to win this, you're going to win this. Both rooks are doubled on the 7th. Everybody takes everybody's pawns. And the engine says every move is all zeros. This is all zeros. This is all zeros. This is all zeros. Now I'm going to take this, and then it's just a draw. And instead of doing that, Naka didn't play rook d8 check. He played here. And now he's drawing, but he's on like the bad side of the draw. Okay. And this is a draw, but black actually has good winning chances, and black was winning later. And black's up a pawn. All right. So the game went on and on and on and on and on and on. And then Hikaru made a mistake in this position. Okay, here, this is where he blundered. No, not yet. Okay, so in this position, Hikaru played king h2, which is just a very bad move. And the reason is, if the guy checks you, you'd like to play king f3. You don't want to have your king here where it can't move, especially like in a blitz game. So king h2 is a very poor move. Check. And now you can't go back here because then I run over to your rook, and if you take this, I just play rook here, here, and I win. The king can't be trapped on the back row unless you're French, right? You could ask MVL, he'll tell you. So he played here. The engine still says this is a draw, but this isn't easy to draw. And now he played king f6, putting him in Wang Chung. Now, first of all, I want to explain to the gawking rabble, there's no stalemate ever. There's never a stalemate. White can always go here. So there's no stalemate. So you can't play for stalemate. And it's very hard for white to draw here. The engine says it's a draw, but even Hikaru got a lost position. Okay, he played rook a8. Here comes the king. Rook here. And in this position, whoa. I went to the end of the game somehow. I'm a genius. I guess chess is harder than I thought. Okay, and in this position, okay, this is the critical position. Now, what's funny is when Leko and Gustafsson were talking about Vancouver, not quite Vancouver, but it's the same ideas. When I went to Moscow with Nakamura, and I was his second at the Tall Memorial, he had a game with Jan Nepomniachtchi. So if you go to the internet now and type in Nepomniachtchi Nakamura 2011 Tall Memorial, you'll actually see an example of the Vancouver where Hikaru was trying to win, but Jan knew the Vancouver, so it was a draw. Normally, you want your rook here, behind the pawn. In this position, the rook is not behind the pawn, so now Magnus is winning. Rook f4 is actually a blunder. However, if he didn't play this blunder, he may have lost anyway. Maybe he's losing. I mean, this king can't move, he's down a pawn, etc. Okay. And here Magnus blundered and the game was a draw. The way to win is to play rook e2. These pawns don't matter. This is the pawn that matters. Okay, and now if you take this, I have the move rook e5, and you can't just win my pawn. You can't go here and win my pawn because I have rook e2. Now it's just an easy win. I just move my king here and I win. And if you play rook f4, it's the same way to win. A2 should win. This says g4 draws, but g4. Oh, g4 king g3 draws because king takes pawn, rook check wins. Interesting. So rook takes, rook e5. Why am I playing rook e5 instead of king c4? Oh, because he takes this and sacks his rook and draws. Okay. So rook e5, rook f4. The engine says I can't win, but I think I can win. I think it's lying. So I can't win your rook, but do I want to? It says I can go here, 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 and you have to stop rook a4. So you have to take. I can't tell if this is a draw or a win. It's a win because the engine now says it's a win. Now I run my king back. And then the engine says plus 7,000. So, okay. So it is winning for black. And what happened was Magnus was just moving around and around and around to gain time on the clock and put pressure on his opponent and try to find a win. So when he played king e6, he was 1,000,000,000% sure Naka would go back here, then he would try to win again. And Naka correctly played rook f3. And this is the Vancouver idea, not exactly the right position, is you keep your rook attacking the pawn, and if the king moves over, we just check you from the side because your rook can't block. And this is now a draw with rook f3. He just moves his rook back and forth. And problem with playing like rook here and pawn here is after rook here, king back, pawn here, then I go behind the pawn and you got nothing. And you got plenty of it. So now it's a draw after rook f3. So Hikaru, even though Magnus didn't show a way to win, Naka felt, wasn't good. And then he's like, oh yeah, this is a draw. I remember this draw. So now, if you pretend the rook is behind the pawn where it normally is, black's king can hide at a1 when it comes to help. And then we can try to slowly win. But when the rook is here, the king can't hide anywhere because this rook is here. The king can't. Yeah. So if you go to any of these squares, I just check you from the side, and if you come to these squares, I also can check you from the side. So him putting his rook on f3 ensured the game was a draw. Yeah, he just keeps his rook on the side. And then this was unnecessary to play rook f4 check, but he knew after this that it was a draw because it's 2 pawns to 2 and this pawn's hanging. Yeah. And then they agreed to a draw. So Magnus was winning at some point in that endgame, and if he did win, he would have won the tournament. But he did not win. Now, the strangest thing that happened, I have one more game to show you. The strangest thing that happened, which everybody's confused about, is Caruana Nepomniachtchi in the last round, they played a 5-move draw. Now, the reason that's weird, first of all, it's weird to play a 5-move draw, first of all, but that's a separate issue. The reason it's weird is the tiebreak system known going in and knowing that Fabi had the worst tiebreaks by far, the only way to win the tournament is to win. So if he wins the tournament. If he doesn't win the tournament. So drawing in 5 moves is weird. And the reason it's weird, other than the reasons I gave, is Fabi was white. So Fabi with white, if he wins the tournament, doesn't try to win, doesn't sound like Fabi. That sounds like, Giri, Radjabov, Anand, Nakamura. It doesn't sound like Fabi. I mean, Naka has plenty of quick draws, because I guess he doesn't want to win. Naka didn't lose a game in this tournament, and I believe he was the only one. Although, Karen and I didn't lose any games either. But Naka didn't lose any games, and he tied for 5th. Naka just has too many draws. And some of Naka's draws, in fact, 2 in a row, were like 1 minute. He drew Nepomniachtchi in 1 minute, and he drew somebody else in 1 minute. I forgot who.
They're saying Nepo also didn't lose.
Nepo didn't lose any games? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the chat is obsessed, and I'm also curious. So it seems like you've changed the way. Did you always say Nepomniachtchi? I have heard it pronounced a lot of different ways. I thought
his name's pronounced Nepom, with the P being Nepom.
I've never heard the Nietzsche part.
Nepomniachtchi. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he always says it like that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've only ever read
it. The accent where you say the loud is pom. Nepomniachtchi.
I've always just read the word. I always said
yeah, but it's in Cyrillic, and they're just translating it from the Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of Indian people have this hero worship with Anand. Okay? Forget about your hero worship. Okay, I knew Anand before you were born. Me and Anand are like that, son. Okay? And Anand and Wesley and Naka and Radjabov are very bad now for the chess world because they draw their games in 1 minute. Now, Anand did better the last tournament. He lost all of his games in 1 minute, so that's good. But you don't want to be a professional player playing in round robins with the top 10, 20, 30 players in the world, playing in world championship events, and not playing your games. If you don't want to play your games, play in some stupid Goichberg tournament like the World Open or Chicago Open and draw in 4 moves, that's fine. Nobody knows about those games, and the tournaments have 800 players, so your game doesn't matter. Okay, and you're not getting an appearance fee, you're not getting free hotel, you're not getting your airfare paid, and there's no sponsors. So if you want to play in a local yokel event and draw in 4 moves, great. But if you're playing in a world championship and everybody in the world is watching, and then you draw in 1 minute, that's very bad for chess. And then a lot of people do that because that's easier. But that's silly. Like if I drew in 4 moves against these guys, that's because they're 400 points better than me. That's the John Fedorowicz excuse. But you can't be Fabiano with white, and if you win, you're the world champion, and you draw in 4. That's ridiculous. And they're like, well, maybe he was tired. I don't care if he was tired. I don't care if he's dead. If you win, you're the world champion. You're not tired at that point. What is he, 50 years old? What is he, Dreev? I've never been so angry. Yeah. When you say Naka didn't do that in this tournament, yes, he did. Naka had like 3 games that lasted less than 5 minutes. Okay. Naka didn't lose any games, and he still had 700 draws. Yeah, he's not Geary. He's trying. Yeah. Yeah, frankly, ridiculous. Yeah, he drew Nepomniachtchi in without playing, and then he drew somebody else without playing. I forgot who it was. There was another game he played where they just drew immediately, frankly. Yeah, just against Nepo. Incorrect. Yeah. The point is, not that I'm blaming Naka or Nepo, because Naka always does it, and he's not really playing in slow tournaments anymore, so he's just playing for fun. And Jan doing that is weird when he's white, but it's much weirder for Fabi to do it when he needs to win to be the world champion. When Jan did it, there was more rounds in the tournament left. When Fabi did it, it made 0 sense. There's nothing you could say. And so the only explanation that makes any sense at all is Fabi didn't know if he ties for first, he's out. He didn't know those were the rules. He thought, we'll tie for first, I'll win the tie breaks, which still I don't agree with, because he has white, and if he wins the tournament. I've never been so mad. A little mad, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe he was confused.
Now also, what's funny is, if you ever do anything with ratings, I'm not saying they did. If you do anything with ratings, like the average ratings of your opponent, yeah. You can't do that in this tournament because the rapid ratings are absurd. Some of the guys are 1,400, 2,000 because they never play rapid chess. And in slow chess, they're 2,650. So hopefully they didn't do any of that shenanigans. Yeah. So I've never been so ashamed. Okay, last game is the last game of the tournament, Abdusattorov versus Jan. And we'll do the game in full. And I was yelling at the TV. Karen can back me up. Because the last 15 moves of the game, Abdusattorov kept missing forced checkmates that were like 1 or 2 moves long. I'm like, what is this? And the announcers are like, yeah, it's a good game. And they didn't say anything. And I'm furious. Yeah. And so forth. All right.
I'm starting to get tired.
You're just sitting there. I'm the one screaming.
I have COVID.
Okay, COVID. That's good. Now, as you all remember, this was Abdusattorov's game that he played earlier against Magnus. This is also my game by transposition against Talia Cervantes in Foxwoods 2 years ago. And she played bishop c5, which is also okay. Bishop e4 is the main move. Now, it used to be after d3, white was fianchettoing his bishop, as in Paul Pochel versus everybody, between 1945 and 1995. Every Pochel game went like this. Paul Pochel's a Michigan master that you've never heard of. Thanks, Brett Stockman. Okay, but that now, against, what's his name? Magnus, Abdusattorov played here, which is ridiculous. Then after takes, Fabi traded off, Magnus traded off his bishop. Actually, no, he played here, bishop here. He traded off his bishop so that he could get the d4 square for his knight, which is sort of what Jan did. Now, this is a 3-minute game, so you know. Now, Abdusattorov didn't like bishop g4, I guess, so he put it in h. No bishop here, so my knight can control the d4 square, and your bishop is shallow and pedantic. Your bishop doesn't really have a lot of good squares. Okay, a5. Now, the point of a5 is to save the bishop. And in the Magnus game and in the Jan game, after a3, bishop c5 was played, saving the bishop. Okay, sort of like Saving Private Ryan, except, not really. So after a5, bishop e2. In the game with Magnus, at some point it went a3, bishop c5, knight a4, and he got the bishop. And then, in a strange thing you guys didn't hear about, but I have my sources, Abdusattorov looked at Magnus and said, "Gotcha, bishop." I couldn't believe he did that, but that's why he won. Okay. So he played bishop e2, and he just put the bishop back on c5. Now, a lot of you are confused, because that's the way you just normally are. You're confused. And we're going to go back to here, and you're like, now, Grandmaster Feingold, if you can call yourself that, in both of the games where Abdusattorov played this line, both of his opponents played bishop b4, and then in the next 6 moves played bishop c5. Why didn't they just play bishop c5 right away? I've never been so angry. And there's a reason. The reason is, after bishop c5, white plays knight takes e5. And in the games that we're showing you, after bishop b4, d6, then we go back to c5, and the pawn on d6 defends. And this is a very sharp position. It's too sharp, if you ask me. Yeah. And there's a lot of games in this line. For example, there's a game Magnus played Geary, and there's many other games. In this position, I blundered against Talia. I played queen g4. Frankly, terrible. And in this position, I played a3. And what did she always do, Karen? She always did it. Yeah, but always play bishop f8.
Oh.
Now, the engine move is bishop f8.
Yeah. Okay.
And she used to be my student, so... Yeah. Yeah, and then I took this, and then she made a really bad move here. I forgot what it was. But I won the game eventually. Here she played a terrible move. I don't know what she did. This position's already better for black. But, okay, I won a nice game, actually. I mean, after this terrible opening debacle. Okay, so bishop c5. Whoa, I did it again. I'm like Britney Spears over here.
I remember that game.
Okay.
Forever.
Yeah. So he played, okay. So h6, stopping bishop g5. Takes here. And then Leko and Gustafsson were suggesting this looks like an Italian, except the pawn should be here and the bishop should be here. True story. Can't argue with that. Okay. And it turned out Abdusattorov is definitely totally Italian or some kind of Spanish. Okay, so Abdusattorov played queen e1, knight e7. He's going to go to g6. He says, you're not going to go to g6. He said, I'm going to go to g6. And the problem with trading here is you're making black's king safer and opening this file. And Abdusattorov, who lately has been watching all of my streams, always plays knight f5. Okay, good move. c6, queen g3, takes. And Gustafsson and Leko were shocked at the way he recaptured. Shocked, I tells you. They were expecting EF. And what's funny was, all the super GMs at this point went up to see the game. It was the only game going on. It was the playoffs. And they did like this because they thought it was going to be EF. But then when the rook took, they all left.
Some kind of Spanish is almost offensive.
Yeah, did you get the E.F. Hutton joke?
No,
in the 70s? Yeah.
Oh, it was about...
Yeah, E.F. and they did that.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Also, they made fun of that on Seinfeld when Kramer went to Hollywood and he was trying to be an actor.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. If it's not offensive, I'm not trying. Also, it's Family Guy. Mm-hmm. All right. So the engine agrees E.F. is better, but he took with the rook. The rook. The rook is on fire. Okay. Then in this position, I was shocked and appalled. I was yelling, you remember, queen h2, right? And the engine says every move is equal, doesn't care. He played king h2. So I think actually Abdusattorov heard me because I'm pretty loud, but he didn't hear, he thought I said king h2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You didn't like king h2?
No.
What was the engine recommended?
It says everything's equal, it doesn't care. Right. Yeah, now in this position, what's his name? Jan started playing terribly. This position's equal. And knight g5 is a very bad move. Yeah, and then the knight's just bad here. The knight should be on f6. So this is already better for white. As Jan pointed out, not this Jan, the other Jan, Gustafsson, it's the first thing Gustafsson said I agreed with. I don't mean today, I mean in his life. He said white's threatening rook takes f7. And I was like, Jan saw a tactic? I was like, wow. Yeah, that was shocking. Okay, so he played knight c7, always retreat. Knight a4, always come into b6. And this is clearly slightly better for white. Now, some of you may be wondering, why did Abdusattorov beat Nepomniachtchi? And the answer is right now. Now you're going to get your answer. Delicious.
Yay. Tasker.
Somebody donated?
Mm-hmm.
First donation of the stream. Thanks.
5 gifts up. Thank you, Tasker.
That's correct. He played f6. Boo! And when he played f6, Leko and Gustafsson were beside each other. Oh, wait, they already were beside each other. They're like, what kind of move is that? That move weakens all the white squares, all of them, even the ones that aren't white, because I don't click very well. Okay, and then they went to get some dog food after that.
I don't know what that means.
Well, they thought it was the Purina sign.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so now white's much better. d4 is okay. And then he doubled up on the d file. And then Leko is like, I mean, white's going to win eventually, so black's got to do something, even if it's bad. So he said, b5, that's fine. That's probably a bad move, but you got to do something. Okay. Now here, he missed a really good opportunity to get a big advantage. He took, which is incorrect. Never trade. Watch what he should have done. Knight b6. And then if rook a6, for example, you take this, because you want to take this, forking the two knights. The knight e8's forced. Now you can't take this because you lose your rook. Bishop e6 check. You can't go here because this is check. And then c5, and black's losing here. Black has no legal moves. Black's up a piece, but he can't move anything. And this reminds you, of course, of the famous Alekhine king march in this pawn structure where he won easily. Okay. So he should have played knight b6, but this is a 3-minute game. So it's fine game. Take, rook c1. Okay, and this is better for white. Black has good drawing chances, but it's better for white. And then he played d5. When he played d5, I went into somebody else's house in the neighborhood and destroyed their house. Now, I'm pretty sure they're on vacation, so they don't know yet. So we might have to move. Yeah. If I ever play d5, that means like I've gone insane and you just like put me in some home. Okay. d5 is the most nonsensical move in chess history. It makes white's position great. So it's like he's playing Magnus and he's blundering again. Now, the engine says this is okay because black has a bad position anyway, but this just makes it easy. You can't be pinning yourself 6 ways from Sunday and opening up the position for my bishop. So he took this because it's cool to have triple pawns, right? Mm-hmm. It's not the best move, but it's cool. And then he pins some more. Okay, takes. Now he played another cool move, e4, because the pawn can't do that because of the check, and the pawn can't take the bishop because of this. So e4 is pretty cool. Now he didn't take with the pawn because he was worried about knight here check. But this is still pinned. Let me explain what I mean. If you take this, you lose your rook. Mm-hmm. If you take this, you lose your rook. If you play d4, which looks good, rook here check, and it doesn't look good because the king's in trouble. So he should have just played some improving move, but he played here, which is fine. He's up a pawn. That's fine. Now here I was yelling at the TV, king f3, king e4, mm-hmm. right? And he didn't do that, and the engine says king f3. Hooray for Ben. He played this, which isn't good. And this is because he's inexperienced at endgames. You can't really compare Abdusattorov's endgame with mine because he's a kid. So he doesn't understand endgames. And endgames need to activate your pieces. And Abdusattorov is like, ooh, a pawn. Shiny. See that shiny pawn? But he needs to put his king here and put his rook here. This pawn's going to be lost anyway. If it's not lost, that's fine. And then we just push our pawn and win this and so forth. So the rook here is not very good. Not a good move. Still winning, but not very good. Okay, d6. Now, you were confused when he played d6 because he's hanging d6. Mm-hmm. Then I explained this is attacked. He wanted his 2-pass pawns. Right. So he was hoping to trade all that. And probably black should do that, but he played a4, d7, king f7. Okay, and he doubled up on the bubble up. So now he's completely winning. I actually didn't like king f4 when he played it, but it doesn't matter. Everything wins. I just thought the king should be safe. Mm-hmm. But the engine says they all win.
I was just about to say that seems scary.
Yeah. Okay. And then he checked. Yeah. So in this position, I was screaming at the TV because we watch it on the TV. Rook e5 check, mate. And not only did he not do that, Leko and Gustafsson didn't point that out. That seemed like pretty reasonable to do that, to play rook here and mate. Okay, but I was yelling play it, and he played here, and I was like, what? Still winning because he's still winning. Now, when I show you this mate, you'll never stop crying. Ready? Because you have COVID. Ready? I didn't see this mate. This mate I didn't see. I didn't see it until it told me now. You ready? Mm-hmm. If you take it, it's mate. And if you don't take it, it's the same deviled egg, the same mate.
Nice.
Yeah. Why couldn't you have won the tournament like that? Okay, so he played random legal move. Terrible. Yeah, now he's barely winning. After rook f2 check, he's only like +2 instead of forced mate. He played this blunder. Now it's the same mate that nobody ever saw. Rook e1. Now this is a blunder, and he might not be winning anymore because of rook d5 check, which is what he played. Rook d6 check, rook d5 check, rook d4 check, and now he's winning. So what should he do? He should play rook 2 d4 check, and then rook g5 check. Okay, so this is probably a draw now.
Okay.
You play rook here check, and he was trying to hide his king here, which I was trying to do a long time ago. But now if you try to hide your king there, I check with this rook. Forking these two?
Yeah.
So you take, and then this is a draw. Yeah, engine says no winning chances. So actually the game was a draw. They both had seconds on their clock. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he got his king where he wanted. Now you can't play rook g5 check. Oh, snap. Yeah, so now you hide. Yay. Yeah, now it's a win because the king's in a mating net. Frankly, terrible. Okay, so he played rook d5, which is the engine move. If you take this, which seems like the best move, I just win your rook. Check, check, and then takes. I could check first. It doesn't matter. And white wins. So he played rook d5. He queened because he's trying to get that, that thing going. It's probably an easier way to win. That likes that. And then check, and then check. And then he resigned. This is the only legal move. And then you could either check here or take. Taking's quicker. And we win. After rook check, we have rook g2, etc. And that's our champion. 3-minute game, not as high level as the other games because it's 3-minute. Now, talking about the format and the tie breaks and the such, it's weird that in the World Championship that Magnus is always winning or not winning and tying and winning later. That if it's a tie, they play another kind of chess. They play rapid and they play blitz. In the rapid, if it's a tie, they play blitz. Why are you the world rapid champion by winning a blitz playoff? Why are you the world champion by winning a rapid playoff and a blitz playoff? Then when they have the blitz, they should have a bullet championship to see who wins the blitz if it's a tie. But if it's a bullet, then they should play like 1 second chess and see who can make the most moves in 1 second. And then Tang will volunteer. Now, here's my opinion, which is not your opinion. Your opinion's wrong, so that's why it's not your opinion. My opinion is, if you have a four-way tie for first, or any tie for first, there's two things you can do. I'm fine with either one of them. You have a playoff, and everybody's involved. What the format is, I don't care. Everybody's involved, and everybody's happy. The other way to do it is to say there is no playoff. Let's go to the tie breaks. You won on tie breaks, you're second, you're third, you're fourth. Bye. That's fine with me too. The other way to do it, which is the American way, America, is they all tie and split everything. Now, of course, if you all tie and split everything, that's not good for a world championship. We don't want to have 4 world champions. What is this, boxing? The way they do it is the worst way. They're like, okay, there's more than 2. You guys leave, you 2 play for it. If you are going to do that really, really, really stupid system, then Magnus and Fabi should have played for third.
I agree. Hey, listen, I'm going to have to go to the restroom.
You don't have to.
And so...
You want a bottle?
Probably, I didn't mean to interrupt. Probably I won't return because I'm tired.
Well, I'm ending the stream anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, we should raid that guy, GM Benjamin Feingold. He has a lot of viewers. Yeah. You're not following John Bartholomew? Wow. Never in all my years.
I follow a million people.
Man, you're following Naroditsky.
I don't even watch the streams.
Thanks, I am Rix, for the sub. Yeah.
So I don't really have a reason to add him in.
I didn't watch the other tournament. We're not talking about the other tournament, just this one.
Charlotte.
Yeah. Kosteniuk already won her event before the last round.
Hey, Charlotte Chess Center.
Yeah.
We're ending. Well, should I go?
Right. I agree with Charlotte Chess Center. It's a world championship. If you tie for first, you have a playoff. Right. Now, what a lot of people are saying is like, oh, the tournament's over, and now you're saying that. No, I'm saying that's a stupid tiebreak system. Once the tournament's over, sort of, and then they say these are the rules, those are the rules. I'm just saying that they're stupid. I'm not saying when the tournament ended, they should have changed the rules and done something else. I'm just saying the rules are stupid. They shouldn't have those rules. And you definitely don't want to have rules where there's less chess and less 2,800 players playing. That's not a good look. You want to have everybody playing in more chess. You don't want to have less chess. You want to have more chess. So it's a dumb rule to start with, and hopefully for future events, they don't have rules where some people play and some don't. Terrible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. All right, now if you're a YouTube editor, try to make like 10 videos out of that and edit most of it out. So I mean, like everything I say in every little video you make, you get rid of all of it. Just say like, hi, I'm Ben. Karen says I have COVID. I have to go to the bathroom, and then that's it. The next video, right? Yeah. It is Obama's fault. That's true. Yeah.
Yay, thank you so much.
Yeah, hype train is closed, so I can't leave. So I'll wax idiotic while Karen leaves.
Yeah, let me just grab something.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, and have a good bishop.
But let me,
It's all Clinton's fault. I just don't know which Clinton. I guess Chelsea. Tang is a very good internet, bullet and blitz player, and that's it. And Hans Niemann was doing well until he wasn't, but he was doing well. I mean, Hans was first couple days were good, and today was not as good. But first couple days were good. By the way, it's funny. I was telling you guys, it's more important how you finish. That's what she said. So. In the final standings, Karyakin did pretty well. But in the first day, he did not do well. And Jobava did great the first day. He did okay the second day. And the third day, I don't know what happened. And Gelfand did amazing the first day, really good the second day, and today I don't know what happened. When I say I don't know what happened, that means they failed miserably. You got to do well all 3 days. It's not easy. So the cream rises to the top. The guys who played for the World Championship, Fabi, the guy who won the tournament, those are the guys who tie for first. And then you're like, oh, Vidit, I like Vidit. You can like Vidit. Vidit's a nice guy. Here was my favorite thing. On Twitter, if somebody donates, we get a train. On Twitter, they were talking about something like Nigel was like, I have COVID or something. And then somebody posted, here's how the Indian players are doing. And they listed all the Indian players and their scores. Had nothing to do with the thread, but Indian people like to post how the Indians are doing at international tournaments. And they're like, what does this have to do with this thread? Why are you... Okay, and I looked at it and I noticed Hari Krishna was missing. Hari Krishna's the best Indian player that was there. But that guy didn't list him as playing in the tournament because he wasn't doing well, so he won't be listed. Man. Hari Krishna's like, I don't know, 20th in the world in slow chess. And, I mean, he was just on the bottom boards all the time in the middle boards. He got like 50%. Because, man, that tournament's tough. Even when you're doing badly, you play really tough players. Like, doing badly doesn't mean you get easy pairings. I mean, some people got easy pairings because they got Tang, but most people had to play tough people. Yay, Jim Sturr and Mr. Hardbiz. Yeah, etc. Yay, Karen's almost done with COVID. She's almost 100%. Probably in 2 days, 100%. Probably tomorrow, like 90%. But when she got tested for COVID, she thought she had COVID. So probably she had it for like 3 days already. This is probably like her 6th day. She's almost done with being sick. She didn't have a fever today. She will have a fever Saturday because she'll have Saturday night fever. I saw her texting John Travolta too. Terrible. I really like this checkmate with rook g5, pawn takes mate. That's cool. When the players have no time, they can't see that. Okay, g3 check, resigns. Or he might have resigned here. I don't know. Huh? I think he played g3 resigns, but I can't remember because I'm an old man. Let's see. I think this is the final position, but it could be this is the final position. Ah. I mean, the systems they had between 1900 and 1975 are absurd. Where like the world champion gets a rematch, and if it's a draw, the world champion wins. That's absurd. But it seems to me you should decide who the world chess champion is on the chessboard. Not like, okay, you guys are out and you guys are in, and let's play blitz chess and bullet chess when it's the world slow champion. What? So FIDE hasn't thought it out well, and the main reason is you need players' input. And technically, that's Emil Sutovsky's job, but he's not a FIDE technical advisor because he cares what the players think. He, wants to line his pockets, obviously. So he just does what's best for him. But what needs to be done is you need somebody, a team of people who are, pretty good, and call them the World Championship Committee. And they're like the top 20, 30, 40, 50 players in the world, and get like 5 of them and say, what should the system be for the World Championship? And you don't have to do what they say, but you can get input. And then if they don't give you any input on the tie breaks, and they complain about the tie breaks later, that's because they're shallow and pedantic. It's not because the FIDE officials are dumb. It's because everybody's dumb. So the players should have a committee, which they do, and they should discuss these things. Like, what are the tie-break rules for the World Championship, for the World Rapid, for the World Blitz, for the World Youth, for the World Junior? And when I was at the World Junior in 2011, at the captains' coaches meeting, they were discussing whether to change the pairings when people for certain countries weren't allowed to play people from other countries because their federation wouldn't allow it, or their government. And they decided at the meeting, the captains had input, that if people are paired, because those are the legal pairings, those are the pairings. And if a guy says, I'm not playing, then he's not playing. We're not going to change the pairings because one country refuses to play another country. But they thought about it, but they didn't do it. But these things have to be decided in advance. And there should be input from the players, because the players are it's always the same, like 10 players. So they should, have some input. But yeah, discussing it after the fact is good content, but it makes the chess world look silly when the players don't have metal detectors to see who's cheating. They can't get water. They can't get buses to and fro from the tournament, but the FIDE officials are spending all of the money and having lavish dinners and other stuff you don't know about. That's what these tournaments are. When FIDE has a world championship, whether it's youth or junior or whatever, rapid, it's just so FIDE officials can, get these kickbacks and get fat off of that, and everybody else suffers. That's the whole point. People who are totally incompetent are the arbiters of these events. You just get higher based on who you know, not because you're a good arbiter. And they go to lavish dinners, and they get nice hotel rooms, and they get money, and the arbiters get paid thousands of dollars for no work. They just stand around and make stupid decisions. And that's what these tournaments are, is just kickbacks for the people in the suits. And it's unfortunate when grandmasters like Sutovsky, for example, that they get the position where they can help and then, want the kickbacks. So. But yeah, the truth hurts. That's the way it is in the US Chess Federation. That's the way it is everywhere. Is the people who run those organizations, they want to get what they want, and everybody else doesn't matter. They want what they want. Truth hurts. But that's everything. I mean, every organization's crooked. So that's what happens. Yeah. All federations are crooked. FIDE's crooked. FIFA's crooked. Yeah. Hillary's crooked. Yeah. That's the way life is. The only person who's sane and reasonable is, well, let me think. Yeah, is Alex Jones. Man, Alex Jones is in the news a lot lately. His wife beat him up, and now she's in jail. That's true. And then he said that Trump is the worst person who ever lived. He's a traitor because he said you should get vaccinated. So he turned on Trump, and his wife turned on him. So somehow he's keeping relevant. Pretty good. Yeah, Eric Rosen, he was a great photographer. Yeah, FIDE is not used to that. FIDE is just like, who do we want to give kickbacks to? Yeah. Etc. Go Alex Jones. Why is his wife in jail? For beating him up. True story. Yeah, you can go to the internet and look it up. I was sleeping today like I always am, and then Wes called me, my friend Wes Berger, and he was telling me all these stories about Alex Jones. He was telling me other stories. Funny. He keeps up with the news more than I do. Yeah. I think she beat a relative on Christmas. Yeah. And Alex Jones is in the news a lot. I mean, Joe Rogan's got to step his game up. I mean, he's not getting as much traction as Alex Jones. Terrible. I mean, when it comes down to it, Alex Jones is probably crazier than Joe Rogan and stupider. So Joe Rogan, he's not going to settle for that. He has to come back with something. He has to go to jail for beating somebody up, or he has to get sued for slander for the nonsense he says, unless it's libel. And then he can sort of compete with Alex Jones. But right now, Alex Jones is killing him. Killing him. Yeah. Eric Rosen was indicted. No. Although he did raid me. So go Eric Rosen. No, we need 5 subs in the next 20 seconds or the train dies. Boo. Yeah, I think Joe Rogan is worth more money than Alex Jones. Alex Jones got to settle some lawsuits. But I don't know. Maybe Alex Jones is worth more. Anyway, for more information on Alex Jones, see the new Spider-Man movie. No, boo, boo. Anyway, I learned all of this information about FIDE and all that stuff from the vaccinations I got. That chip is working. Man, I'm smarter than it. That's why I got to 2,800. I was like lingering at 2600. They injected me with those chips, and now I'm 2800. Yeah. Etc. Shady Graves gifted a sub. Hooray. Yeah, your chip's now working. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Now, next year at the World Series, if you're vaccinated, you do not have to pay the $10,000 entry fee. If you're not vaccinated, you do. And I asked somebody, why is that? How are they going to pay prizes and stuff? And he said, if you want to win the World Series, all you need is a chip and a chair. Waiting to tell that joke for 2 days. All right, who am I rating? Let's see. I guess I'm rating JB. He probably already rated somebody. Let's see, did it work? Looks like it worked. Yeah. So, etc. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Go Abdusattorov. Next couple days is the World Blitz. It's the most fun you've ever had. It will be more fun than the Rapid. Bye, everybody.